Hello, welcome everyone. I am RxOliver. These are my friends, and we are playing Coriolis, the Great Dark. This is the Flowers of Algorab, Session 1. I'm here with Max, Brian, Dave, and Brian. And our game master, Brian, is going to take it away. On you go, Brian.
Oh, all right. So I will just jump right in next time, but my plan is to start every session with a little vignette that I've written and to end every session with a little vignette to kind of bookcase it. Um, Sometimes it'll have something to do with what's going on in the game, other times it'll be lore. But yeah, I'll just start right in with it.
Sweet.
Ship City is dying. It is the 189th year of the diaspora. 189 years since the end of the long traverse and our escape from the war-torn ruins of the great Coriolis station and the Third Horizon. 189 years since the discovery of Jamua, the first and last star. 189 years since the birth of Ship City. We came here following a signal. 12 years chasing it through the great dark. Some thought it was a transmission from the lost Ark ship Nader. Others thought it might be a beacon leading back to another horizon. Maybe the second, maybe even the first. It did lead us to another horizon after all, a lost one. The portals, the few we found, are dead, and none have been able to reignite them. The slipstream, that river of relativity sliding between systems, is the only method of interstellar travel. But it's tempestuous, and many small ships were lost until the first great ship sailed, opening the spheres to us. Sadly, the charted sphere is nearly barren, with most life inimical to us. What little of it there is, resources are scarce as well, no matter how hard we mine or scavenge. And the great builder ruins scatter the planets and moons of every system in the slip has made it possible for us to reach. And with the builder ruins comes the blight. Still, we soldier on, in memory of the captains, for Ship City, for each other. Ship City is dying, but there is hope. So, you are all explorers. You work for a relatively young guild in Ship City, young enough that it is not even a part of the Grand Council and has no representation on the Grand Council. The Grand Council in Ship City is largely dominated by the three major guilds: the Navigators Guild, the Machinist Guild, and the Gardeners Guild. There are some other smaller concerns, but those are the major players. The Explorers Guild came into being really just a handful of years ago, was actually created at first by Master Muska, Matreides Muska, who is the head, the master of the guild and your boss, and a bit of a concerned stepmother. She cares very much about her guild and her people and their goal, because the goal of the Explorer Guild is to find materials, find resources, deal with the dangers of the Lost Horizon, and expand the prospects of Ship City. Because as yet, although there are a few colonies out there, and Garita is from the far colonies, for the most part, Ship City is the heart of humanity in the Last Horizon. You just recently returned to Ship City from a Class 1 delve into the Red Garden. The Red Garden is in the system of Jamua. It is a massive complex of interconnected ruins that explorers regularly delve into, sometimes as training, sometimes as practice to keep their skills tight, but there are some deeper and more dangerous class 2, 3, even 4 delves in the Red Garden that people attempt on occasion. But your crew, will say, has been recently put together within the past year or so. And this was your dusting off run, a simple class 1 delve into a well-known area. You returned with some shards, which are kind of nebulous, undescribable, not always the same. You just use the term shard for all of them, artifacts of the builders. You followed procedure, you made sure that they were not carrying blight, and you returned them to the Explorers Guild. Probably even just a couple of days ago, you returned and turned in the shards, received your pay and your extra pay for the delve, because being an explorer pays. Might be why you are one. You receive a monthly stipend, and on top of that, you earn ruck for the level of the delve that you go into and for the artifacts that you bring back. What may have surprised you on your return is, I would imagine at some point, each of you, either together or individually, would have checked at a ticker station. In Ship City, messages are sent to people via ticker machines, kind of like old. Why did I just forget the name of it again? We were
Telegraph.
talking about it before we started. Telegraphs. But also kind of a weird connection of telegraphs, but also modern day Twitter, because they're limited in length.
To
But
exactly
one of you would have
140
snapped.
characters, isn't it?
Right, yeah. One of you, I would imagine, at some point would have stopped by a ticker machine and you would have received an invitation, which I will just throw up on the screen for everyone to see. I know you all can see it.
Oh, by the way, Brian, we don't have music. I don't know if we're supposed to have.
We can in 1 second. Hang on,
Right,
I'm in the
okay.
middle
No,
of- yeah.
just checking in case we were supposed to have it, mate. Cool.
All
I
players.
should just
Yeah,
trust
we
you.
should.
It'll be on when it's supposed to be on.
There we go.
Oh, here we go.
So hopefully you can all see your invitation now.
Yeah, explorers, please attend funeral for Levon Najar, City of the Dead, Alums Day 11th, Iridani. Evening shift, expect to meet for tea. Muska. Been invited to a funeral?
Yes, now none of you know Levon or Najar, if we just want to use his last name. You may have heard of him. Whether or not you have, that is up to each of you individually, but none of you know him personally. And the date on that particular invitation is a couple of days ago.
Oh.
And today is the 11th. Or we'll say we're starting on the morning of the 11th,
Okay,
right?
so we've been invited to a funeral today.
Right. So it is in the evening shift. You have 2 shifts before that to do anything you would like to do in shifts in Ship City, if you choose. Or we can jump right to the funeral, if you would like to do that as well. But it is a funeral. I mean, ritual is important to the people of Ship City. You may want to dress appropriately. Common attire at a funeral is dark robes or similar clothing, except for the officiants that tend to wear white. Actually, if anybody would like to, for the first roll in the game, you could make a logic test for me with bonuses of talents regarding knowledge, history, specifically of Ship City and the factions of Ship City, if
Logic
you have
is-
anything of the like.
It's more than one of us to make this roll, or only one of us?
You can, yeah. All of you can make it if you
Well,
choose.
My logic is good. I don't think I have any bonuses on it, but my logic is a 6, so...
No, you
Mine's
can
not
just roll
brilliant,
straight
so
logic then.
you outdo me.
Yeah,
You certainly don't have to. It's up to you.
Double check my talents again. Yeah, no. I don't have anything extra on it. Those dice are very cool.
Okay.
1 success.
Could I apply my cultural savant role to understanding the correct
Yes.
rituals?
Yes.
Well, so you've
by
got
all means.
Cultural savant. That's very nice. You've got the one the same as me, Dave, where you can push
Also a
logic rolls
success.
twice.
So if you'll try to remember when we make rolls, if you're happy with the result, go ahead and hit accept.
That's right, you have to accept it.
I need to delete some random stuff above that I didn't delete last time. So each of you garnered a success, which is, in general, in Coriolis, as with most freely games, is enough. Like there's not necessarily a levels of success mechanic. That's kind of left to the GM if they want to apply anything like that. But generally, 1 success is going to be enough.
Is it a
So
case
in
of,
this case,
is it a case of more
What's that?
successes? It's worth it in combat. You want more successes, don't you?
in combat, more successes is good. Yes, which we'll
Yep,
discuss if that happens.
Again, just like Forbidden Lands. See, it's easy for me to understand because a lot of it's just like Forbidden Lands.
Yeah, it's very similar. I mean, obviously they're both based off the Year Zero engine, so every game they kind of modify a little bit to the specific game, but for the most part, it's Year Zero engine.
I just want to say for the record, for the viewers, big fan of the Year Zero engine and the Free League games. If you haven't noticed already, massive fan here. Love them. I know you are also, Brian.
Yeah. I will admit I don't own all of them for reasons, but I have most of them, and I've kickstarted most of them.
I've enjoyed
all
the ones I've played.
Yeah, they're so good. Even the ones that aren't the Year Zero engine. You know, the One Ring, fantastic. That's my.
I've not played it.
Game,
I've not played it yet. I have the book there. Not played it.
Maybe I'll run that for you next after this.
Yeah,
or on the side.
Given the size of Ship City, how long will it take us to get to the?
I would like to buy.
I love that.
I would like to buy some clothes, Brian. I would like to buy a new set of black clothes, like something nice and new for the funeral. To be
okay, do you want to buy a fancy set, or do you just want to buy just standard clothing? Do you want to buy clothing that has a modifier or not? Let me put it that way.
Yeah, well, I think I do. What's the status of this level in the jar? If we've maybe heard of him, is this a person of importance where we should do our best?
He is an explorer, and I will say...
please.
Was.
Be correct.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean,
You're right. He was an explorer.
Yeah.
Let's see. Who among you do you think probably has the most engagement with the guild? Who's the face? Who's the front man?
See, my character's he's the opposite of, and he's quite like socially awkward, and he doesn't know the right things to do. So that's why I'm asking. I've got money.
I know who it probably is. I want you guys to decide.
Yeah, it's probably.
I think it might be me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it probably is. It probably is.
I think that we agreed on the last time.
You're the face. You're the face. Dave.
The actor.
I don't know if we agreed so much as Dave just got smushed into it. So for our players, for our viewers, the primary social attribute is empathy. Everyone in the party has an empathy of 2, the lowest score you can possibly have, except for Idris, who has 4.
3.
Oh, have you got 3, Brian?
I'm sorry. I apologize. Garita has 3, so Garita is slightly above what would be essentially average. To be fair, 2 is average.
Yeah. To be honest, that's why I pointed out he was an explorer.
My guy's a bit of a Sheldon Cooper.
I don't mind talking about the fact that he's dead. He's gone.
Right. He was. Yeah. Okay, so I would say that Idris without a roll, or Edris, right? Edris without a roll would know, or do you want me to refer to Edris as his title that he likes?
Edris is fine. Shade is
Edris.
more of
Okay.
a nickname.
Shades for people
Is
that
it-
know him,
is it
because
a
we know
nick-
he's a shady fucker.
Well, that's why I wanted to ask. Is it a nickname that people have given him, or is he one of those guys who's like, call me Shade? Like
The
he
nickname
tries to make people use his
he
nickname.
attained it growing up.
It's a certain
Okay.
type. It's a certain type of man that gives himself a nickname, and I'll say no more. But we all know it's a certain type of guy that gives himself a nickname. Like,
He's just always trying to push. Remember, it's Shade. No, okay, so
No.
he earned it. But he doesn't necessarily. Does he like
No, he
it?
doesn't go by it. He doesn't.
Okay, I gotcha.
He's stuck with him, but he prefers Edris. That's his first name.
That's actually good to know. Okay, I'll make a note of that. All right, so Edris, I think, being the face of the group and
Yep.
engaging with Master Muska primarily in receiving assignments, getting the group together, things like that. I think you probably would have at least heard the name Levan
Yep.
Najar,
Mhm.
and you know that he was respected. He has been with the guild since the beginning. In fact, I think you probably would have heard that he was a member of the first, technically, delving crew, which involved him and Muska, in addition to some other people. So Muska is an explorer. She's not just a guild leader. Like she's been the places where you
she started.
maybe
this
not
shit.
all of them, but like she
He's
started it.
OG.
Yeah.
An OG.
And this is an OG friend
Correct.
of hers. I think, yeah, then I think it is worth buying a fine set of clothes for this funeral. Then I have the money, I think.
Okay.
So,
Well, yeah. Go ahead and drag that over, and you can obviously describe it as you please. But yeah, a fine set of clothes gives you a modifier to engaging.
I
with
am
people.
just showing off your lovely menus and interactive stuff that you've done to our viewers. So clothing.
I think I'll stick with the clothes that I have on, my black leather jacket.
Sorry, where is clothing? General equipment and the clothing. Here we go.
Yep.
So I need to
Exquisite.
open my character sheet. The equipment. I need to drag something over. Right. So what am I looking for? Exquisite clothing. Cost 2,000
I think
rucks.
that's the
Fancy.
one.
You could go exquisite. You could also go. I think fancy is one of the options.
Nah, I've got the money for exquisite.
Okay. So exquisite, yeah, it gives you bonuses to social interactions. Sure.
Okay. And is that automatically equipped just by dragging it over to my sheet or what?
So when you drag it over to your sheet, you should notice under automations,
Yep.
it's now listed as an automation where you can start a roll
Yep.
using it to get the
Did
bonus.
that automatically take the money off? I'm not sure if it did.
It does not automatically take the money
Right,
off.
so
I'm
I've
not
got-
that good.
So I've got to
yet.
do that then. Okay, so I've got 500
Yes,
ruck
you have to
left.
remove your own money.
Okay, so I've got 500 ruck left, so I'm not buying anything else.
Fair enough. Yeah, please remember to remove your ruck.
Yeah, I've done that.
Anyway, so you're gonna go shopping during the day and get yourself some nice clothing for the funeral.
Yep.
I would say that because we still haven't dealt with the logic rolls, both. I gotta get these names down, don't I? Open my side sheet here. So both Osric and I didn't change your name here. What is your character's name now? Oliver?
Ozil Cazorla.
Oh, it is Ozil. Okay,
Yeah, still
so
Ozil the first name. I changed his last name.
that's right. So both Osric and Ozil would know from their logic rolls as you're having a discussion with your group, because I think you all decided in session 0 that you kind of, at least for the moment, live on your ship and your rover,
Yeah.
because it's free essentially.
Cheaper, aye.
Yep.
And we've got we've got the comfy bunks. It's a good rover to live in.
Yeah, it is. So maybe while you're having a discussion, after somebody brings back the invitation, the two of you would recognize that you would know about the funerary practices, generally dark clothing for the mourners, the people who are dealing with the ritual are generally going to be wearing more bright clothing, white and bright yellows and oranges. And you would also know that the City of the Dead is largely officiated over, or controlled, perhaps might be a better word, by a specific group of Coriolites known as the Wardens of the Well. And we'll talk more about the Well when you get there. I would say that being a Coriolite, or having lived among them, born among them as Osric is, you would also know that dark robes are provided for rituals. Just large, one size fits all. You kind of throw the robe over whatever you're wearing. So you could pass that on to the rest of the crew should you choose to.
Oh, yes, certainly. You can turn up from the library or wherever you've been working, and they're used to people coming in and having to garb them effectively. People do get tied in with their work. I'm told that you're not allowed to smoke or eat during the ceremonies. Presents are a bad thing. If you knew the person concerned, you can ask for some words to be said, but and I will proceed on until they get bored.
Sure. Okay. Just gabbing their ear off about it. I will also say, and Oliver, you would know those things as well with your logic roll. I will also say that you, having come from the Gardeners, do also know a little bit more. You know that the Gardeners Guild is jealous isn't the right word necessarily of the Wardens of the Well, but the Gardeners Guild has been trying for some time to get a greater foothold into the City of the Dead.
Okay.
You're not high enough in the Gardeners Guild to really know why.
Why, right? Okay.
Oh, I know. I mean, it's because they want the bodies to use as fertilizer. I mean, totally disrespectful, and we're quite right in preventing them getting that.
Speaking of that, though, David, I would say you would also both know, and you'll see this when you finally go to the City of the Dead. But the City of the Dead is essentially the size of a small kind of like city park. And it is filled with mausoleums where the extremely wealthy are interred. And there are a lot of statues that people commission for various reasons. But then there is primarily the well, where bodies are ritually kind of released.
Are they just yeeting them into a hole?
Well, they're not just yeeting them.
With grace. With some grace.
Ceremoniously yeeting them into a hole. Is that the poor then?
Well,
the poor just go in a hole?
You'll see.
Right, okay.
Yeah, essentially, because then in this rift, this well, those bodies are then collected and cremated in a crematorium that is down in the well.
Right, okay.
Yes, I mean it's not respectful to kind of turn people just into fertilizer.
So they're just chucked in a chimney, basically.
Kinda.
Yeah, okay. Interesting.
So then, Oliver goes shopping, buys a new fancy outfit. Is anybody else doing anything during the morning and day shift before we get to the evening shift?
I think I will take a trip along to the guild library and look up the missions that as I was involved with, just so that I'm able to. I don't want to say the wrong thing.
So if somebody talks to you about them at the funeral, you can converse about the person. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, good shout.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that. I'm do some reading as well, maybe. I'm right there with you on that.
Okay.
I think you'll be reading fashion magazines, won't you?
Well, no, the thing is, right, so picture a character with a 2 on empathy. I've got no social skills. I'm like a young Sheldon.
I don't need to.
Immaculately...
I have 2 on empathy.
Okay, keep in mind, two is average.
So, yes.
So I've got the intelligence to know to like how to research what to wear and to know about the cultural appropriateness of what to wear and stuff, but I've got no social cues in that. Like so I look the part, but as soon as somebody talks to me, I stand out like a spare prick at an orgy wherever I am. Doesn't matter how immaculately dressed I am.
Oh, quite.
So
that's why
I would say
looked up
that
to see whether I was allowed to smoke at the ceremony.
if you're going to the library to kind of get an idea, first of all, you probably wouldn't go to the library. The better place to go would be the Explorers Guild. And
What's the guild
to look
library?
through the records. Oh, the
Yes,
guild
exactly.
library. Okay, yes.
The library at the guild, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Well, probably more the guild records, because the guild library is not. It's not that kind of library.
It's
the
a
guild
library
is
it's
actually,
exhibits,
okay,
really,
okay.
isn't it? It's like, look what it's like their collection, their library, right?
and
It's artifacts.
and it's also it's artifacts, and it's relatively small because there is actually a grand archive of Jamua that is more along those lines.
and they take all the good
But
shit.
as far as or other people put all the good shit there. But as far as learning about like previous missions and things like that, that would be done with the guild records, which you potentially could have access to. So yeah, we'll say that you're able to get in there, and some of the high level records for known explorers are pretty easy to access. And you find mentions of some delves into the Red Garden. You find mention of the Ice Cathedral of Ninhulam. You find reference to several other kind of major builder ruins that have been known and delved with some regularity, but you see a lot of firsts and
So you're a
progress.
pioneer.
Make notes.
So
for him.
he's quite legendary within the Explorers Guild, then, really, isn't he?
I mean, he's up there.
actually-
Like I said, he traveled with Muska, and they are kind of the heart of the guild.
They're the original OGs.
To be clear, although the guild is relatively young, it's a matter of years, not centuries at this point. Like the Navigators Guild has been around since, I want to say, probably like the year 24 of the diaspora, and so the year 189. So some have been around for quite some time. The Explorers Guild is relatively new, but exploration, delving into those ruins, has been done since almost the beginning, even without an Explorers Guild. So Master Muska just kind of brought everybody together
Just
and said, "Hey,
unionized
we
it."
need to,
Yeah.
we need to unionize. We need to look out for each other, and we need to be better about doing this."
Yeah, that's what a guild
Do
is,
we-
really. It is just unionizing,
Do we know how?
isn't
Yes.
Do we know how this guy died? And if we don't, I'll go along to
You
the
don't.
guild and I'll go along to the guild with the guys and have a chat with the
Could it-
guild
Would,
while
could
they
it,
look through the records.
looking at how long they've been around, could it potentially be old age at this point?
Um,
How old is
he was
Muska?
older.
It's not speculating.
Muska
I'll have a
is
chat.
probably in. You would guess that Muska is probably in her mid 40s, early 50s.
So still young then, mate, yeah?
Yeah.
So
Very young.
actually, since you asked, let's go ahead and do our first. We pop up our first person bit for you guys. Go into your notes. People, Master Muska, configure, observer. So that is Master Muska
Mhm.
and her personal bird, Arak. A black Garuda.
Now-
From one of the first batches of Garudas that were found.
Rock is the name of one of the lines, isn't it? So does that mean that hers is like the grandmother of that?
So the line, actually, I was incorrect during character creation. The line, which is the same line as your bird, is the Arak Barat.
Right,
But-
okay.
Her bird is the kind of the progenitor of that line.
That's what I mean, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So our bird is
Related to hers.
It's related to hers. Yeah. I'm not. What's
Yeah.
the opposite of ancestor? What's the word? The opposite of ancestor?
Descendant.
Descendant.
It's not exactly
Descendant,
like.
that's the
It's
word.
not exactly like that because again, keep in mind, as far as your scientists can determine, the birds are essentially biomechanical.
Mhm.
They're not born. They don't grow. They
Mhm.
are
They're not actually
created.
breeding.
But nobody knows where more of them come from. In fact, of late, there have been reports from the lower part of the chasm known as the Haze, and from some deeper parts of Ship City, that there are just unconnected birds grouping up and traveling together and migrating around Ship City. Some people think that they might be escapees from the bird market, because again, these things are semi-sentient, and in the bird market, they're essentially being traded and sold. But also, they're just many of them choose to be where they are. Like your bird, Ashes, is a Explorers Guild bird. You were issued Ashes, and over the first little bit of time of your crew coming together, one of you, Osric, seemed to have the best connection to the bird, and so kind of became the bird handler. But like your bird was not purchased from the bird market. It was a member of the guild, for lack of a better term. And in fact, Muska, although some people scoff when she speaks in this way, tends to refer to the birds as members,
Okay.
as explorers.
It's like
So-
assigned to us, sort of thing. It was,
Yeah, essentially.
Just a part of the crew.
that-
Another crew member.
Yeah, right. Now, while we're on birds, I do want to bring this up because it's one thing that I've been trying to figure out in the background. I shot off a message to the creators of this particular module to see if we can get a change on it. But so I mentioned during character creation, David, that as the bird companion, you get a bonus to interacting with the bird. That is in addition to your bird handler talent. Those are two separate things.
Ooh.
So your bird,
They stack.
your bird handler, yeah, they stack. Your bird handler talent is a benefit, but then as the bird companion, you also gain another additional +1 bonus. Unfortunately, currently, there's no way to indicate that in the module. So
Oh.
we will just need to try to remember, David,
it
when you
manually.
interact with the bird, that you add a
Add an
manual
extra
bonus
base.
of +1. Yeah.
Okay.
worth putting
so
in the
it's +1
notes?
base dice. Yeah.
Somebody's music is coming through hot, just FYI, through the mic, so you might want to turn the music down on your thing.
Not me.
No, mine's coming through my headphones.
Unless mine's being weird and it sounds funky on my end, that certainly could be. If it's not coming through the stream, the music should be coming through the stream, but if it's not doubling up, that's fine.
Yeah,
It's
no,
whatever.
it's all good. Yeah, it's all good at this end.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's deal with Edris going to speak to people at the guild. So I would like you to make an empathy roll, just for a general kind of chatting about. When we're in kind of like shift and stretch mode, well, that's nice. When we're in shift mode, which is kind of where we're at right now, because you guys are waiting to get to the evening shift to go to the funeral, you can essentially do kind of one important thing during a shift. To answer David's question that I completely ignored a while ago, how long does it take to travel in Ship City? Well, that very much depends on where you're going. So in general, if you want to take a look at the Ship City map, it is important to keep in mind that from prow to stern, so from way up here by Hull Town all the way down here to the Purple Gardens, Ship City is about 15 kilometers from end to end. It's maybe 2/3 of that wide, and then it's roughly about 2 kilometers from the top of the dome
Very nice.
all the way down to Aluminum Bay. And that's just in general, right? I mean, we're not tracking exact distances specifically. But
are we docked in Hull Town?
you are actually docked in Aluminum Bay.
Down here.
Hull Town is essentially, it's not a dock. Hull Town is a web. Yeah, I forget who off the top of my head. Maybe Max.
One of us is from Hull Town. Is it you, Max?
From Hull Town?
Oh no, I'm not. I'm from Aluminum.
Oh, okay. Edris is from Hull Town. So Hull Town, if you look up at number 1 there, it's basically a whole bunch of busted ships and gantries and scrapped together domes that kind of expand out from the front, the leading end of Ship City, in just kind of a strange interconnected web that grows and changes and is different almost every time. A lot of it's even open to vacuum. Oftentimes you have to either be in a vacuum sealed aerial or carriage traveling from one dome to another, or you have to put on a suit and walk on a gantry from one pressurized zone to another pressurized zone. So Hull Town is, I don't want to call it a shanty town, because the shanty town is actually down on the other end of the map, 15 in Corrosion Bay. That place is rough. But Hull Town is, it's seen a bit of gentrification, a couple of areas over the past few years, but it is kind of like a chaotic just mass of derelict ships that have been turned into living spaces.
It just adds on and grows and changes.
Yep. So Aluminum Bay, Aluminum Bay is kind of the primary port. That's not to say that maybe smugglers and wreckers don't dock in Hull Town, but the primary port is Aluminum Bay. Aluminum Bay is where...
Aluminum Bay is where I'm from, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Which one of us
so I think it's
from Hull Town?
I think it's Rico is from Hull Town. Yeah,
I'm from there.
Cool. This map is awesome. I love the artwork.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, beautiful.
So as far as traveling from one place to another, let's just assume you're in the upper chasm, kind of around the top 3 levels, because the chasm has 9 levels. Traveling from the top of the chasm to the bottom of the chasm by funiculars or lifts would take probably a stretch, maybe a couple of stretches. Traveling from the chasm to the City of the Dead would probably take a few stretches. Traveling from Aluminum Bay to the City of the Dead, having to take lifts up into the chasm and then go up the chasm, that's probably going to take you the better part of a shift. I'll still let you do something during that shift, because a shift is 8 hours or 6 hours, but a lot of that is going to be traveling and navigating. Because keep in mind, Ship City is sci-fi, but it's kind of like busted up, steampunky, worn down diesel punk sci-fi.
It's retro future sci-fi, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So like the lifts and the funiculars and the aerials, they're not fast. Like taking the lift all the way up. Yeah.
Like chains.
Taking the lift. Yep.
Cool.
Taking the lift from Aluminum Bay all the way up to the bottom of the chasm, in the haze. That ride on its own, not counting stops, is probably an hour on a lift.
Oh wow.
And the lifts are huge because like cargo and supplies and all this. So there's generally in a lift, there's a kind of an open space for people to have, conveyances that have supplies and things like that.
Right,
there's a space with a bunch of seats where people, imagine like a bus station.
Right, okay.
Where like there's just banks of seats where people just kind of sit and wait for the lift to go up. Unfortunately, sometimes there's no place to sit, so people are standing for an hour waiting for the lift to make it all the way up.
In real life, I have a fear of lifts. I fucking hate them. I'll walk up 20 flights of stairs if there's an option. Like, don't like.
Hopefully that
going
won't be a
over.
problem here, but
Oh, it
yeah, I
doesn't
get
bother me
that.
in a game, but yeah, in real life I do not
Okay,
like
Has
fair
going
enough.
around
anybody
it.
seen the movie The Metropolis? The very old, like it's like 1920s, 30s movie Metropolis.
No, I
I
haven't.
know what you're talking about, but I haven't seen it.
But I am
Bits and
familiar. Yeah.
pieces, snapshots
Yeah,
from
I
it,
know
but
which one
not
you're
the whole
talking
thing.
about.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm thinking about. If you see parts of that movie, I think where I kind of see what some of this city is like.
Yeah, and a lot of it is interconnected in various ways. Like you can get to the Sinbin Maze and then the City of the Dead from the Haze. You can also get to the City of the Dead from like probably the third or fourth layer of the chasm. Aluminum Bay goes up into the chasm and the haze, but also goes up into number 7 there, which is the turbine halls where a lot of the manufactories are. So there's a lot of connections. You can get anywhere in Ship City from just about anywhere, with the exception maybe of the Inner Sanctum, which is where the Coriolis tend to hang out.
Well, yeah,
That's
so
pretty much
it's rather exclusive there.
Yeah, it's very exclusive there. But then also the top of the chasm is where like the tower is, and that's a little bit more rare. But all the other areas you can kind of move amongst them, but it does take time. And
Yes, well,
you know,
we mustn't be late. I'm told it's bad manners. So
you do want to be on time, yeah.
yes,
You definitely
well,
don't want to miss the
Muska.
body being
No.
yeeted into the hole.
Musta. No. So I am going to set out once I've finished my research.
Okay.
I will advise the others where I'm going, and if they wish to come with me, fine. If not, I'll arrange for robes to be ready for them.
So generally, also I should note that usage of lifts and funiculars, if you're not familiar with what a funicular is, I had to look it up myself. In the chasm is like a hole, right? And there are structures and districts all built in to the rim of the chasm all around.
Mm-hmm.
Once you're in the chasm proper, there are aerials that go across on cables at various levels. But then there's also these funiculars. A funicular is essentially like, imagine a cable car that goes on tracks up a steep slope. So it's kind of like a lift. Oftentimes people will use the terms interchangeably, but a funicular is a very specific type of lift that kind of slides up.
Like a
so
ski
imagine
lift.
kind of, but at a much steeper angle and usually attached to like a wall or a mountainside or something like that. So at any rate, usage of all of these methods of transportation are free. I was not able to find any kind of indication that you have to pay to use the transportation. You just might have to wait until something comes back down or comes to where you are so that you can get on and make your exchanges.
I assume there's no like executive sort of travel options.
So no, there aren't.
First class.
You're living. Yeah, you're living inside an asteroid. So outside of open spaces like the chasm, we're talking things are built into tunnels, right? Like there's no room for vehicles or anything like that.
Yes, but if you are a courier, like quite often you'll send people off in advance to kind of reserve chairs for you in the various lifts and make sure things are there waiting.
Your character's not Coriolis, Dave. You just grew up around them, right?
Well, yes.
He is a Coriolite. He grew up around them. Whether or not he maintains that is up to him.
I have a certain attitude, shall we say?
Right. But also, Dave, you're not wrong. So we've already messaged the ticker messaging, or the people just call it a ticker or a TM, which is funny, a ticker message, like too much information. But it's actually, the full term is an intra-city ticker messaging system because it's within the city, right? And there are wires that are laid out that allow these ticker stations to communicate with each other and leave messages for people that you would then somewhat regularly, hopefully, check at a ticker station to see if you have any messages that need to be printed out.
It's an intranet.
Yeah, kind of. Only not something you have immediate access to in your pocket. You basically have to go to a terminal and then have it printed out for you.
Which is more like an intranet. Like a work has their
Yeah,
own
exactly.
intranet. And you'll get
Exactly.
on it on the work's computer.
But of course, if it's more important, if it's urgent, then you can hire a messenger and send them off to
Couriers.
hunt the person up.
Exactly.
Yes,
Right. And couriers can be sent with letters. They can be sent just with word of mouth. There are a lot of people as couriers that are trained to only basically to retain a message perfectly, and they focus their mind and make sure that they remember the exact message as it was given to them. And then they
the really good ones can even get the intonation and the accent correct, but those are expensive.
Maybe the really good ones can't be tortured either.
Well, they can.
Those are the really
It won't
good.
do
Well,
any
they can,
good.
but it won't do any good. Yeah. So radio can work in Ship City if you have a comm link. I don't know if any of you have comm links outside of your suits. Your suits have comm links. Radio can work, but
I remember you saying this. Yeah, that it's just
not very far.
Terrible,
right?
Yeah.
You might be able to radio someone in the chasm if you're a few levels up or down from them, and if you're both like standing at a balcony and looking out over the chasm. But if you're in the chasm, or if you're inside of a building that's built into the wall in the chasm, or if you're in the chasm and you're trying to radio someone in the City of the Dead or down in Aluminum Bay, like, no, that's not happening. There's no radio relays or anything like that.
I would point out that is also public, unless you've purchased an encryption module or something like that.
Correct.
So
Correct.
Be careful.
This goes over the airwaves.
Correct. Now they do have. There is technology
to be honest,
for.
I'm making a lot of this up, and I'm getting that accepted by the GM.
But you're also not far from correct. Like, it's a lot of what you're saying is in the book. Some of it you're saying, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. That's fair.
Just shows you've got a good understanding of the setting already, which is great.
Yeah. There are orbital communications that are possible.
I have a good understanding of my background, you see. I don't really understand all these far colony things.
Sure.
And such.
But there is orbital communication that is possible, but that is usually there's a lot more that goes into it. So, like, where would that be? Would that be general equipment? I can't recall. But you can get orbital transmitters and orbital receivers, but they tend to be much larger, more expensive. And to be fair, even if you have an orbital transmitter, if you're in the belly of Ship City, it's still not going to work. Like, you have to be in an open space like the chasm to be able to reach a ship in orbit, or maybe one astronomical distance out. It doesn't go very far.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so fun little discussion about that aside. We do need to pull back, and I need to deal with Edris's empathy role in interacting with people in the guild hall. The guild hall, which is on, I believe it's not specific, so I'm going to say level 5, ring 5 of the chasm. No, I'm sorry, it's ring 6 is what I decided earlier. So, like I said, there's 9 rings in the chasm, not relating to Tolkien whatsoever. There's just 9 rings, and the top of the chasm tends to be brighter, more airy, and more respectable. The haze, which is the bottom of the chasm, which is so called because it's often covered in fog because of the processes from the turbine halls and things like that coming up into the chasm. Yeah, it is foggy and dark and crowded and not always the safest place to go. Because although Ship City is like people want to survive. There are haves and have-nots in Ship City. There are the guilds, and there are people that are not members of guilds, and there are, it's like it is anywhere, right? So it's not a perfect
about to
society.
say, everywhere you go, there's haves and have-nots.
Right. Now, everybody on Ship City, regardless of caste or guild membership, pretty much everybody is about protecting Ship City, right? So I don't know if any of you have read or seen The Expanse, but kind of like the mindset of the Belters in The Expanse of like, if you mess with Ship City, if you endanger all of us, you go out an airlock.
Yeah.
Like everybody is kind of on the same line where that's concerned.
Yeah.
But mugging somebody down in the haze is not the same thing as messing with the life support systems of Ship City, right? Crime exists.
So that loyalty extends to the city, not to the citizens.
Correct.
Well, of course
Correct.
not. I mean, the other guilds are rather short-sighted, and they look after their own interests. They wouldn't imperil the city, but they certainly wouldn't worry about harming another guild.
Or care about the people down in Corrosion Bay,
citizens,
or the people down in the haze, right? So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. But in general, if you talk to any random citizen, rich, poor, and ask them about how they feel about Ship City is home. Like, they want Ship City to survive. They obviously, people who are have-nots, they want to do better and they look for ways to get better, but they will also protect Ship City.
Do not start a fire as a distraction.
Oh yeah.
For example.
Probably not a good idea. No.
No.
Okay, so back to Edris. So you speak to people in the guild hall at level 6, and to be clear about these levels of the chasm, like I said, it's about a kilometer deep. So with 9 levels, every level is many stories tall, right? And there are buildings built into the crust of the asteroid. Sometimes even just out on the balconies, there are buildings and things like that as well. It's dense. Imagine a vertical city is essentially what this is. A vertical city of thousands of people packed into a chasm that is maybe a quarter of a kilometer in diameter, but a kilometer deep, and it's big. So there's a lot.
Manhattan.
Well crowded.
What's that? Yeah, it is kind of like downtown Manhattan, but taller, right? If you took downtown Manhattan and extended the height up to a kilometer and gave it 9 levels, that is what you're looking at.
Again, out of character, am I right that with this basically gravity generation with an accepted this is down and this is up?
We've got artificial gravity.
That is correct. So there is artificial gravity. The people of the horizons are able to manipulate gravitons, and they have graviton drives and things like that. We're not going to go deep into the science, but yes, there is artificial gravity. Ship City doesn't actually spin, so it's not centrifugal gravity. And so because Ship City doesn't spin, but it does orbit Jamua, if you look at the directions in Ship City in your handouts, Domeward is up towards the dome. Bayside is down towards Aluminum Bay, which is the lowest part of the city. Spinward is towards the prow, which is the front.
Right.
Trailward is towards the purple fields. And then starward, and you can even see this on the map of Ship City somewhat. Starward is towards Jamua, which is that big red circle that Ship City is in front of. Jamua is a red giant. And rimward would be towards this end of the map, which is towards the outer system. And that's basically how people relate directions in Ship City. So I may pepper those in here and there, but
I like it.
yeah.
Music stopped again, by the way, Brian, a while ago.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh, it sure did. I may have accidentally hit the button. My mistake. I've got a long list of just stuff to repeat. I hope it's repeating. Yeah, it should be.
Normally
Okay.
it does. I don't normally have to like say anything to you about music, but today it's not automatically playing.
Well, I've got. I put a little macro on my toolbar, so I may need to move that to a different bar, so I'm not accidentally clicking it. Or I can just change the bar I'm on. That'll prevent me from clicking it too. Okay, so at any rate, Idris, for the third time.
We'll get there.
Edris.
We'll get
Get
there.
there eventually.
Idris.
But I don't want to talk to anyone anymore.
Yeah, you're at level 6. You're at the guild hall and just kind of chatting with people. Muska is not present, so
Okay.
I don't know if you were intending to speak to her, but
I was going to
not
ask. I was going to ask
present.
if she was around.
Okay, so she's not present. She's likely out preparing for the ceremony,
Yep.
or doing whatever else she does, because she's not a figurehead. She doesn't just sit at a desk and run the guild. Like
She's involved.
She is involved. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you speak to a few members who are there. Some oldsters and some younger people, like your crew. I assume you're all mostly relatively young. You can decide your own ages. Not like teenagers, but I imagine you're all probably 20s, 30s, maybe maybe late 30s.
I think early 20s. I think my guy's fairly young and naive, actually.
Okay. So you speak to a few people, and they don't know how he died.
Mhm.
But there have been rumors of when. People seem to think, especially with 2 successes there. I'll give you this. He was older than Muska. The few of the people that you speak to seem to think that he might have been pushing 70.
Okay.
He was not in good health, you hear several people say, but then you also hear a couple of other people kind of mention, they kind of interject as well. It's like, well, no, he was healthy. He just wasn't right in the head. So there seems to be some disagreement there. But then as far as when it happened, so today's the 11th. You received the invitation on the 9th. People seem to indicate that he actually was either reported dead or Muska received the news on the 7th. So this is all very
In a few
fast.
days, yeah.
Like in the span of 4 days, he dies. The funeral is being set up. If there was an investigation, is complete. Funeral is set up, and then here you are today. The funeral is happening. So that's kind of what you get with
Okay.
your engaging with people around the guild hall, and that'll take you about a shift. Whether you do it in the morning shift or the afternoon shift, that's up to you. Anything else anybody wants to do? I know Osric is heading towards the City of the Dead. We're assuming close to the end of the afternoon shift, the day shift.
I'm going to go with Osric. Once I've done my clothes shopping, I'm going with him.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to. I'll head over there as well because obviously I've done.
I'll make sure I have my last cigarette before actually going in the doors. All right, brush the ash off.
Okay. Seemed like the music stopped again. That's weird.
It never came back for me.
Okay. Well, it should be up now.
It's up now, yeah.
Okay.
I'll stop when I'm just inside and have a look and see if there's anybody there I recognise who I'd be surprised to see there.
Okay, so before that, are we all good? We're all moving to the City of the Dead? That's where we want to go?
Yep. And my
That'd probably
cleanest
be
clothes
where,
I can't find.
Geared
What's
probably
that?
be there already.
What did you say, Max?
Oh, I was just saying, for Rico, he's wearing the cleanest clothes he has.
Okay, fair enough. That makes sense. So, I do have the ability to pull people. Or you can get there by clicking on the City of the Dead, 12 on Ship City map.
Oh yeah. Sick. Oh, look at this. This is cool.
And that'll bring you to the City of the Dead.
Nice.
So, entering the City of the Dead, as I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of mausoleums. The E's on the map are all mausoleums.
Mhm.
I'm going to close that too.
I guess he is the well. Oh, yeah,
Tells you
there
that
it is.
hover over it. Tells you that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you should be able to hover over A, that's the well, and B is the Palace of the Departed, where a lot of people go for discussions after the ceremonies, or sometimes before. People will meet there. There's no tombs or anything in the Palace of the Departed. It's more a place of reflection and introspection and respect. But it's quite large, as you can see. Lots of space in there to have meetings and interactions with people. You're guessing if Muska is inviting you to tea after the ceremony, it'll probably be in the Palace of the Departed.
Mhm.
The B.
Where
is,
do we get the robes? Is it on the entrance?
So the robes. Hang on, I'm getting to a map here that has the actual key.
Our tokens are tiny.
They are tiny because that's how big the space is.
Yeah.
Have we got tokens on this map, have we?
You do.
I don't
Oh
know.
yeah,
Bottom
way down
corner.
there. Look how tiny they are. Oh my days.
Yeah, way down there.
Wow.
So G
Oh wow.
on the map, G is not a mausoleum. It is like a. Think of it as like a small kind of warden chapter house, and that's where you would go, kind of right at the entrance to the main open space, where you would go to get your complimentary robes is not the right term, but
So-
your ceremonial robes for the ceremony.
Above
Should you
well,
choose to use them.
Above the table comment,
I-
real
I-
quickly. The map is not only suits the style of this Coriolis module very well, but it's also very you, Brian. It's also very your style.
I didn't draw this one. This
You
one is
didn't?
out of the book.
Oh, is this straight from the
No.
book?
Yeah.
Oh, this looks like you made it, mate.
Well, when you see some of the ones I did make, hopefully it'll look very similar, because that's what I was going for.
I'll wait for the
so-
others to arrive so that I can lead them to the right place. I wouldn't want them to make a faux pas.
Very small we are.
Right.
So,
So,
if all here,
Everybody's there, I think.
so yeah, G is where you would get your robes. Can I not click on the map? Oh, it's too small for you to see. But then on the far left, you'll notice some larger structures that are past all of the mausoleums. That is where, like, the wardens most likely, sleep.
Yep.
Live, do their other stuff. Like those are the warden chapter houses, essentially.
Mhm.
On the left hand
Oh,
side.
these ones over here.
Far over to the left, yes.
Yeah.
Past the mausoleums.
Yeah.
And then, let's see. Far off to the north is the crematoriums, at least the surface level crematoriums.
Is that here the F?
F.
Yeah.
Straight north from the well. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The big circle to the left, or to the right, I guess, as we're looking at it, of the Halls of the Departed, is basically like a small park with a large fountain.
Right. Okay.
Is essentially what that is.
We need to head to G to get our. Or those that are wearing them. You've got your nice
I've already
clothes on,
got
haven't
some
you?
nice robes.
Yeah. So if you head over there, you can move yourselves, but you don't have to. This isn't really like a combat oriented map. Now,
Adds to it though.
I love moving
But
the
yeah, if
tokens
you
around.
wanna-
It's good fun.
if you want to move up there, eventually you'll find like a gate There are gates all along here to the various lanes that kind of weave in and out amongst the mausoleums. And I should also note that although you're in an enclosed part of the ship city, like
There's a roof.
the
and
roof of the
everything, yeah,
tavern
yeah, yeah.
above you is lost in shadows, right? There are lights that are basically, like kind of like lanterns and lampposts that are set at appropriate intervals. There does appear to be some kind of a central upper lighting source that is kind of dim but provides some lighting. It's not uncommon though, if you look out amongst all the mausoleums and kind of northwest to where the statues are, to see flashlights, essentially light beams of people's torches as they move around, because this is a largely dark space.
It's very dark.
Yeah.
The people,
you also note-
as we're there, are the people around us, are the people milling in at the same time as us? Or is it just invite only this?
No, you see other people moving around. There are some people out amongst the mausoleums, as I said, some people amongst the statues.
Oh yeah,
But
okay.
the ceremony would be at the well, so you would guess that I wouldn't say there are massive throngs of people here, but if you've ever been to a cemetery in a largely populous city, like there are people about most times and most days for various reasons.
What's the population of Ship City about?
So roughly, as of the year 187, which is 2 years ago, the population of Ship City, the Grand Council did a census. The number that they came up with was 203,345. But that number excludes temporary visitors from the far colonies or from other outposts. This is just residents. It's largely known. It's kind of like a not secret that number also does not include the residents and the population of Corrosion Bay.
Aye.
Which nobody is really sure about. Nobody even went down there to count anybody at all. Also, it's understood that the population of Hulltown changes and shifts pretty regularly, but at least in Hulltown they tried to get it is kind of included. So roughly 200,000 souls in general, give or take.
But there's probably about 500 people a day committed to the well, correct?
At the very least, right?
It's going to be quite busy.
Well, the majority of people you would imagine are probably in the Palace of the Departed, because again, all of the mausoleums here are for the wealthy. And so there will be wealthy family members moving amongst the mausoleums, but they're also probably inside the mausoleums, not just milling about outside. There are some people that come to give reverence to ancestors and the captains and things like that amongst all the statues. And then a lot of people will be in the Palace of the Departed, paying respect, lighting candles, things like that. Does that make sense?
Yep. But you'll also get the poor and the destitute, their bodies just being brought here for committing to the well, I would imagine.
Yeah, so they probably without ceremony would just be
probably do that in the middle of the night when people aren't around. Yeah.
Well, from what Osric knows of the Wardens, they are not. Obviously, they're well off because the Wardens control the City of the Dead, and people give donations, and the Wardens are very capable of looking out for themselves, monetarily at least, because of this service that they provide. But they're not. They don't hold people apart. Let me put it that way. As a Coriolite, I would say that Osric probably knows that the Wardens regard everyone as future dead.
A future customer, right?
Yeah, like it doesn't matter what your station is. Everyone comes here eventually.
Everyone, yeah, we
Yep.
get everyone's
And-
business.
And so they give everyone the same amount of respect. Sometimes it's not very much respect, but they give everyone the same amount of respect.
Yeah.
And with
I mean,
with
there's limited,
sorry,
there's limited space for mausoleums, and there's always
Uh-huh.
demand for more. So, providing the appropriate fees are paid for maintenance, etc., then families can retain them. But if not, then they can be emptied and turned over to somebody else.
right, or just bought straight out by a more wealthy, person.
No, rented.
Okay.
Rented. The wardens wouldn't kind of give up the actual freehold.
Oh, correct. Yes, yeah, bought, but still you have to pay a maintenance fee.
Of
Like
course,
that's
of course.
yeah. But
It's only a project.
as far as the poor, if people bring them here at all, 9 times out of 10 they don't receive a ceremony at the Well of Souls. Their bodies are probably taken straight to the crematories at F. What you do notice when you reach the kind of, I don't want to call it a guest house, but like front office, if we will, for the G space area, where you guys are getting your robes, you notice that the main area, particularly around the Well of Souls, is empty, which is custom. People don't travel into the area unless they are part of a ceremony. Even moving into the halls of the departed, there is essentially a path that goes from the office at G, skirts around the main circular area, and it kind of goes into a side entrance into the Palace of the Departed. If you're not part of a ceremony or taking part in that ceremony, you don't go into the main area.
Okay.
The attendants at G also inform all of you, as they're giving you your robes, you're not allowed to approach within 5 meters of the well unless you are taking part in the ceremony, specifically as a speaker, in which case you cannot approach closer than 1 meter to the well. You are not allowed to approach the well and look over the edge. For safety purposes.
Is it only the official yeeters are allowed to look?
Would you say you've seen a ceremony before?
About to have known someone that's died. Yeah, I would say
Okay.
so. I mean, we're late. I'm late 20s to 30. I don't know. I'm somewhere in my 20s. Yeah, you've been to a funeral by then. Most people have, haven't they?
Okay. So
Yeah.
you would know that the attendants, they actually will approach the well, but that's because that's part of the process of the ceremony that they do, which we'll go into here in a moment when you guys approach the ceremony itself. Any other questions for the attendants before you move into the area? Because you can see that there's a group of dark-clad, you assume mourners, out by the well now at this point.
Well, I at the ceremony for the person that we're going to, or are the celebrants waiting in the Palace of the Departed at the moment? In other words, do we head out to A, or do we have to go round to C and wait to travel to A?
No, just
Yeah,
skip
no.
round and-
This would be the ceremony that you're here for, right? So you would inform the attendants that you're here for the internment of Levan Najar, and they would offer for you to enter the main circle of the.
Okay. I would inquire as
The
to the
laborious things.
timetable, because there will no doubt be a certain time that the commitment will actually take place. In other words, how long before the commitment?
You just
Well,
you
how
just wanna
long?
know
How long
he-
before did you get here?
He just wants to know how long he's going
literally
between.
starts.
He just needs to know how long he's going between cigarettes. That's all he's trying to count.
Right.
Please. No,
Don't roleplay for him. He needs to do it.
I had my last cigarette just before entering,
I can
so
still smell it.
I'm okay at the moment.
So
No,
you
it's more a case of when we get there, it will happen, or there will be a ceremony once we get there before the actual commitment.
So you were told at start of evening shift. So if you guys want to be here in time, I'm assuming you want to.
Yes, of course.
Then yes, you've a few minutes left to go out and join the rest of the celebrants and for the situation to begin.
Can I ask the attendants?
I will ship everyone along.
Can I ask the attendants? Is there anything unusual about this procession than any others? Just because I've got a paranoid mind. Have they noticed anything unusual? And I, if I have to, I can charm them as well.
Unusual? No, I wouldn't say so.
No strange faces. Nothing untoward.
Well,
or nothing out of the ordinary. Let's say.
It is unusual for a guild master to request to speak, but it is just the Explorers Guild.
Okay. Well, Master Muska is going to speak.
And they're acting like they don't know who the guild master of the Explorers Guild is, which is probably not true.
They do.
But,
Yeah.
yes, it is an M. Muska who is speaking.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Are you all explorers as well?
Been known to dabble from time to time.
Oh, well, indeed. But I see your sigils. So each of you has a warrant card in addition to essentially a medallion that marks you as a member of the Explorers Guild, which is the kind of feathered bird symbol. I don't have a version of it right now. I really should add that to something. Well, it's on the landing page, on the file folder.
Mm-hmm.
That's the symbol of the Explorers Guild.
You'll
notice it is not on any of the printed ruck that you carry. All the other major guilds, their symbols are on the printed ruck. The navigators, the gardeners, the machinists, but not the Explorers Guild.
So the Explorers Guild does print its own money, but they don't put their symbol on it.
No, so the money is printed by the Grand Council.
Right.
We're not important enough to be on the money.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Can
we're
I-
at
still
the
a young
bottom of the
guild.
chain of guilds by the sound of it.
Mm-hmm.
Can I have a quick question? Based on my knowledge of the ceremonies, as a junior librarian, for the funeral of a senior librarian, we were all gathered together and we had to attend as gestures of respect. But in that ceremony, as Coriolites, we were just there. They didn't ask to see our individual identification, did they?
No, because, and this is actually something I should have brought up before, and so I apologize for this. So as a person coming from the Coriolites are generally, and the rest of you know this as well, Coriolites are generally identifiable because Coriolites wear masks always. So the attendants you're speaking to, they're all robed in like whites and yellows and oranges. The yellows and oranges are accents. They're not wearing like a yellow robe, but primarily whites, sometimes off-whites with some yellow and orange accents. But they're all wearing these masks that are, just either integrated into the hoods of their robes, or people that have their hood down, they have a clear mask that they're wearing. It is a mask. It's not like an implant or anything like that. They can take it off. But in mixed company, Coriolites always wear their masks. So my question for you, David, is, are you still a Coriolite in the sense that you have a mask that you wear, or are you not?
Since I'm working for the guild and this is guild business, I am not wearing my mask.
Okay. But you do own one.
Yes.
Okay.
But I don't have Coriolite robes, though. I mean, I'm only a junior librarian, and 3,000 rook.
Sure.
We don't get paid
Right.
that much.
Right.
But I shall proffer my sigil and indicate the bird on my shoulder and say, all of those of us here with this sigil are, of course, members of the Guild of Explorers.
Okay.
We shall-
Likewise.
So they guide.
I shall attempt to get out of giving individual identification by that means.
Okay, I
Introducing the
think
group.
that works. I think that works.
Okay.
They did just ask to see your sigils. Sigils don't have identification on them.
Ah,
It's
right,
a
sorry, I
warrior
thought-
card.
Just the emblem of the
Just
guild.
an
Yeah,
emblem.
just the
Aye,
emblem.
yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay.
So yeah, once they've seen each of your emblems, your sigils, they open the gate and allow you into the main area and say the ceremony should take place shortly after you arrive.
Thank you, and stop calling me shortly.
So again, it's a large space, but you can reach it fairly quickly. The item marked B behind the well is it's an obelisk. It's probably a good 15 meters tall, made of some kind of black stone, and it stands over the well as if in sunlight it might have a shadow that would pierce the well, but there's not enough ambient light here to create that much of a shadow. From what I think, again, David, you would probably know because of your faction. Legend is that obelisk has been here since people moved into Ship City, since they found this cavern, pressurized it. That obelisk was here.
Did they bring
That's
it
the
with
rumor.
them to Ship City?
No, the rumor is it was here.
Before Ship City was here, it was here.
Is it man-made?
Unfortunately, it does appear to be worked. Man-made is the question. You're all explorers. You've been in a builder ruin. It's likely a builder artifact if it's true that it was here when they found Ship City.
Yes, but we were warned as librarians, don't touch.
Correct. And in fact, no one even goes close to it. Yeah, so are you all kind of filing into the area around the other people robed in black?
Yeah.
Indeed. Watching out for the lady with the bird on her shoulder.
Yeah.
Oh, you can
Master?
see her very clearly. Yeah.
Very good.
She's not wearing a hood or anything, and she does have Harak on her shoulder. So yeah, if you would like to go to the Well of Souls, you can click on A. Or I can just pull everybody here.
Wow, the art is so cool.
There's everybody. So there is a bit of a extension, a jetty that kind of files out into the Well of Souls, directly with the obelisk at the back. Right, you can't see it in this picture, but they're directly in line with each other.
Mm-hmm. So it's just here.
We're-
All right, up here, yeah, behind everything.
We're back here.
Yep. So as you approach, you can see, or perhaps in response to your approach, you see several attendants carrying a wrapped, clearly body on some kind of board or platform of some kind that also looks fairly ritualistic. And they approach the jetty and move out onto it. And you see some fine but sturdy-looking chains coming down from above. And they connect them to this travois, and you don't see any of them working any mechanisms or anything, but the chains begin to lift it up and move it, not just swing it, but move it out over the well. And the well, it should be noted, based on our measurements here, yeah, that's about right. The well itself is maybe a little under 20 meters in diameter. It is a wide hole. And the edges of it, from what you can see, keep in mind you're not allowed to approach too closely. But from what you can see, the edges of it are finely worked. It's not just a. Well, it doesn't appear to be.
Looking at
this
that
level.
Looking at that drawing, it looks about 200 meters in diameter. The curve on that circumference. I mean that's.
No. The well is just the lighter part that the A is on top of in the middle. The big circle is just an open space. So the well is I can't just click on the A.
I'm looking at
Just
the
means the
drawing of the
curvature's
well
very-
of Souls itself.
It just the
curvature
curvature's very
itself-
wide, yeah.
Yes, I mean that ramp is about 4 meters long.
So it's just a drawing, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
It must be some sort
well-
of dimensional distortion. Yes.
No. The well is just the lighter part in the middle of the dark circle. Does that make sense?
Right. Okay.
And if
So
you-
the darker circle's bigger than the well, right?
Is the dark circle is just an open space that has the I don't know
Yeah.
if I'm describing it well enough, but if you look in the upper left hand corner of the map, that square is about 20 meters wide. It's 20 by 20, right?
Yeah.
So if you overlay that square over the well in the center of the map,
Yeah.
it's a little bit under that. It's only about 20 meters in diameter across. Yeah, the park, the open area itself is quite large in the middle, and empty of anyone except for your group right now. So the ceremony continues, and the chains lift slowly, gently, not swaying, this travois with the body, which you assume to be Najar, up, and then moves, not swings, but moves out over the center of the well. And that's where I will read some stuff for you. Because this is a pre-prepared adventure, so there's some written stuff that we can use from time to time. The soft sound of chimes surrounds you as you stand before the abyss of the Well of Souls. From above, a slow cloud of white flower petals rains down into the well, a final farewell from the Gardeners Guild. On a small platform suspended by chains is the linen-wrapped body of Levan Najar, the man being buried today. A cold breeze ascends up from out of the depths of the well, extending a chill and making your robes flutter. Next to you, half a dozen mourners with gray faces and empty stares murmur amongst themselves. The crowd is small, but you overhear several people making invocations of reverence to the forebears, the Mother Star, the Uncreated, the Captains, and even a few mention what you think are names of old icons. As always, there's no response to any of them. Were you going to say something, David?
No, I was just going to mutter a Coriolite prayer for the departed.
So as a Coriolite, you might actually mention the icons as well, because Coriolites tend to hold to the old religions of the icons.
Mhm.
Not many people here for a man having lived a whole life in the service of the Explorers Guild. Strangely, Master Muska requested your presence at the funeral even though you never met the deceased man.
Mhm.
Muska herself takes a step forward, precariously close to the void, but no closer than 1 meter. And you can almost see the attendants watching her as she moves forward. Although, of course, they all wear masks. And she speaks, as the white petals seem to drift around her. Levan was a true explorer and a true friend. He went farther and deeper than anyone before him. Who can forget the ascent of the iced cathedral of Ninhulam, made without proper climbing gear? Or the third survey of the Red Garden, where he mapped the final strata, with a broken leg and a wounded arm, no less? That was Levan Najar, fearless, endless. As we pass him on to the uncreated spirit, we do so with gratitude. May the blessings of the three guide him, and the icons show him mercy. With that, two white-robed Coriolites with pale silver masks operate a console that tips the platform beneath the body, making it slide off and tumble down into the inky blackness of the well. Within seconds, it's gone. And Muska steps back from the edge. She sees you, and she inclines her head towards the group of you. I assume you're all standing relatively close to each other. But there are other people that she engages with as well for a few minutes as the group of celebrants tends kind of coalesces, and there's some engagement between people. You might have a few people approach you and you know, wish you well and ask you how you knew Levan and things like that. Small talk.
Yeah.
But
I'd
eventually,
heard of his exploits on such and such, and he was indeed a great explorer.
But eventually, the crowd begins to disperse, and Muska moves over towards you. Thank you all for coming. I know you didn't know the man.
Only right to pay our respects, so he was a pioneer of the guild.
It was a
Well-
surprise to get the invite when I didn't know the guy at all, but as my colleague said, it's right to pay respects.
She nods when you say that, and in fact says, not just a colleague, remember, we are brothers and sisters.
Of course.
Of course.
And she approaches probably, I would imagine, Edris, because she's probably had the most interactions with you, being the face, and kind of puts her hand on your shoulder and kind of waves out with her other hand and kind of gestures towards the grand staircase leading up to the halls of the departed and says, shall we have some tea?
Absolutely.
We have much to discuss.
This is everyone that's coming as well, or just me?
Oh, when
It's
she
the
waves her
group.
hand, she includes everyone.
Yep, let's go and get some tea and have a chat.
So, a rock and Ashes share a glance. But again, birds are silent, so there's no interaction between them. None that you can hear,
That we
anyway.
know about, yeah.
Right. And then a rock takes off and starts flying. He doesn't like to sit on Muska's shoulder while she's moving. I don't know if Ashes is the same. That's your call.
We have an arrangement. I carry him until I'm not able to anymore, and then he takes a flight.
Oh, I see. So yeah, as you move into, assuming you head towards the halls of the departed.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
That's where she's taking us.
Then you might want to move back to your map with the little star and planets in the upper left hand of the title. And then click on the halls of the departed. Or the Palace of the Departed, rather, is what it's called there.
It
But
says,
you're in the
it
halls.
says the Hall of the Departed on the screen when you go in.
Oh, wow.
Very nice, beautiful.
So it is very much palace and temple coded. candles are everywhere, and in fact, there are many places where there are essentially stands where people can light candles and add candles to groupings. You even see, as you enter and head towards what you would imagine, Muska is leading you towards a more private seating area. You see a lot of people burning small strips of paper in candles, ritualistically, probably in memory of an ancestor or loved one more recent.
I breathe in the scented air deeply.
And it is heavily scented. You're not necessarily sure where, but there's definitely incense being burned from somewhere. In fact, through the flickering candles and the wafting kind of incense smoke, it is not difficult to see and hear, but it is obscured. Like your vision feels cloudy because of the weight of what's here. But it's not necessarily oppressive. Although people are quiet and respectful, you feel almost a sense of reverence and hope, not a sense of pain and loss. There are many spirits that are recognized by the people of Ship City, but one of the most common, I don't want to call it necessarily religious, because there's not necessarily a religion that goes with it, but one of the most common practices of the people of Ship City is ancestor reverence. And so they remember their loved ones, obviously, but then they also remember their parents and their parents' parents and so forth.
Yeah, Ship City is dying, but it's only here because of the actions of our ancestors.
Exactly.
Sitting on the shoulders of those that came before us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, you did also hear Muska mention several things, which is odd. You kind of get the sense that she was probably playing to a crowd, as it were. Because although there are a lot of spirits that people tend to believe in Ship City, not everybody believes everything, and not everybody is a part of the same group, or, as some people refer to them, cult. She mentioned the uncreated spirit, which is essentially a belief that's pretty common among ship workers and crews, dock workers, and they believe in this spirit that is kind of like the representation of humanity's potential, of the uncreated, right? She mentioned the captains, which is kind of a new thing, not new as in recently in the past few years, but in Ship City itself, is a reverence of the original 3 captains that led the diaspora of people leaving from the Third Horizon and coming here. And they're remembered because of that and revered because of that. And you often hear people, almost like saints, as it were. And you often hear people refer to Ajdarville the Wise, or Korda the Brave, or Yarkov the Kind, the primary 3 captains that led everyone here. They weren't just people, but as I said, now they're kind of revered as saints.
Yeah, like founding fathers as well.
Yeah, founding fathers, exactly. But with a more spiritual bent to it, right?
Yeah.
And then also she mentioned the icons. Everyone knows of the icons, whether they continue to worship them, whether they know them in detail or not.
What's that? The old gods.
Different from person to person, but the icons were the gods of the Third Horizon. And I won't go into detail of all of them. If you want, you can kind of look those up. I might make a notes page for them at some point and add some of the stuff in. But pretty much the only people that revere the icons anymore, outside of a few people here and there, are the Coriolites. The Coriolites tend to revere the icons very much.
Well, the captains may achieve the stature of becoming icons themselves in the future.
Perhaps, yeah, perhaps.
Yeah. That's the
And then
Coriolis things.
Yeah, and there are some other ones in there as well that I might make some note pages for you at some point. But there's a lot of diverse spirituality and religion and cults in Ship City. But for all of that, the majority of people in Ship City are focused on one thing, and that's survival. And a lot of people don't have time for these spirits. They don't give anything more than just passing credence to them. Definitely not as religiously oriented as the previous Horizon was. But it is still there in the background. So at any rate, Muska takes you kind of to the side and sits you down in a location. There are several warden attendants moving around in the mists and the shadows. And one comes over as you all take your seats and brings with them a fairly large carafe of tea and lays down cups and everything for all of you and pours some tea for all of you, some Kazim tea, which is refreshing and energizing. And Muska looks to you and looks around and says, "You may have questions."
Were there any of his notable achievements that she didn't mention? Because I did look them up.
Oh, I mean, he did a lot, and a lot with her. I wouldn't say any notable stand out to you that she didn't mention. She didn't. All of the feats that she mentioned were from years ago. She didn't mention any of his more recent activities and forays. You will have noted that.
Okay. Well, I shall ask, was there any reason she hadn't mentioned such and such and such and such? As I had seen these.
He was an old man, he maybe just hadn't done much recently.
Oh, no, they did appear quite important, but weren't mentioned.
He was old. He was old when we started this process together, and just became more so. But although he was unwell, it wasn't physically. He was still strong for a man of his age.
What did he die?
Well, that's what I take issue with. Something is not right.
Oh.
This is the bit that's bothering me. If he's died, and you say he was well physically, there's obviously something in his brain. That's the bit that's concerning me. So if you've got any information to share, now would be the time.
To your question, Osric, if I may call you Osric.
Oh, Master, please.
To your question, if you've looked at his records, you know that he hadn't been on many expeditions in the past several years. Which is to be understood. Delving is dangerous. And although he was not physically unwell, I feared for him spiritually. Although he didn't delve with regularity anymore, he did disappear for long stretches. Cut ties to many of his friends, except for me, and a few others, perhaps. Maybe it was the blight that got to him. He didn't seem to show any outward signs. No manifestations. Could have been something else. To your question, Edris, from what I'm told, he killed himself. Leapt from the balcony outside his home in the chasm. I know you all are all currently residing on your ship, which I understand. I spend most of my time in the guild hall itself. I haven't maintained a residence in years, but he has a small apartment that he liked to spend time in, and he was found on the ring below his, directly
You believe-
beneath.
Do you
having
believe that
fallen.
that's what happened?
You don't believe that's what happened, do you?
That's the story. That's what the Zapti reported. I didn't even hear about it until 3 days after his death.
Was his next of kin, Master?
Oh, he had no next of kin. Never married, never sired children that I'm aware of. I imagine he would have told me in the years we've spent together.
Who has
Explain was his
acquired?
life.
Who would have acquired his belongings, Master?
Well, it's been a few days. I've tried to keep tabs on it. Well, I did a little looking around myself as much as I can, someone of my station. I know a lot of people out there like to slight us currently as being a young guild, but I think we all know that people know who I am. And so it was difficult for me to find what I could, but I did find out that he had visited the archive within the past few days. In fact, only a couple of days before his death. The archivist that I spoke to said that he was given access to some find, an old one, some artifact. They weren't clear. May have been a tablet. Something from around the time of Ship City's founding, in fact.
And then
Am
all
I
of a
right in
sudden he showed up
thinking,
dead.
Master? Oh, sorry.
Well,
mate. Go on.
And then
I
so
went
he-
to check on the tablet, and it was gone.
Ah, so the tablet had been in his possession, but is no
No,
longer present.
no,
I'm sorry.
He
I
doesn't have it.
went to check the archive, and it was gone.
It's no
Ah,
longer
it was
where
in the
should be.
archive.
The thing that he was
I
learning
sus-
about is gone.
I suspect that he took it.
Are you? I have to assume, Master, that you're going to get to where you're going to ask us to have a look into this. Am I right in that assumption?
Yes, I do have a request. I can't move about this city freely, and I have other things on my plate at this time, dealing with the council, dealing with the other guilds. I would like for your crew to look into this for me. You're one of few crews that are currently in the city, and to be fair, it wasn't just a question of who was here. I was bidden by an interested party to ask for your help, and she kind of glances at Iraq, who is standing off to the side, perched on some bit of furniture.
The bird recommended us.
Or maybe recommended your bird, which then is
It-
connected to your crew.
Yeah, maybe.
Interesting.
Sounds like we got our first mission, babe.
I did manage to get into Najar's apartment before it was closed off. It had been ransacked. I found no indication of the tablet, but I didn't have a lot of time to investigate. There may yet be something there.
Mhm.
As it currently stands, my understanding is that the apartment is unoccupied and has not been cleaned out. It will likely be emptied before too long.
Oh, the investigation was basically suicide, case closed.
Yes,
We don't believe
and this
it.
is where we are now.
but I don't believe that for a second.
No,
You were-
and
yeah.
this
reason-
tablet that's missing.
Well, the reason why I don't believe that is just a few days before he died, he did actually contact me. Left me a message saying he was working on something that could change everything.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest, I've been busy. I did maybe, perhaps, think that he was rambling, an old man, an old explorer, excited about something, just rambling. But now, with his death, his apartment being ransacked,
Yeah.
the missing tablet, maybe he was onto something.
Sounds like it.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like it.
Well, as you say, Master, he was our brother.
I appreciate that you say that, and he was important to me.
And you don't believe his death was suicide, then we certainly have to investigate it because you're wise. And
I would say, yeah, we definitely need to look into this. Master, you go about your business as normal, and
let us have a look.
Let us look into it and report back to you.
Thank you. I really must get back to the office. I've been away too long this morning, but perhaps I should get some rest as well. Perhaps you all should as well. It's evening. I would like to see this tablet. Hopefully you can find it, bring it to me.
Yeah, we'll try.
But it can wait for the morning, I think.
Sure.
So with that, she stands and excuses herself, unless you have any other questions.
Location of his apartment?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Well,
I'm glad you're here, Dave.
She gained access, so does she have a key?
She does not have a key. When she went to investigate herself in the short period of time that she could, it was open.
But she said it's been closed off.
Well, closed off in that the door was closed. She didn't indicate that anyone is like guarding it or anything like that.
Yeah.
Just that she wasn't able to spend time there because there were still Zapti investigating when she was trying to look into it, right? So it's possible the Zapti could have closed it off at this point, but she doesn't have a key or anything like that. She does give you the location. She says that his apartment was maintained on the ground level of the 5th ring of the chasm spinward. And she, kind of gives you some directions to get there. It's not terribly far from a funicular stop or an aerial stop on either side. And it's pretty easy to recognize. It's one of the few small apartments that's actually at ground level. Most apartment complexes on the ring are large affairs, but his, apparently he managed to get a deal. It may have once been like a small retail location, but he managed to get a deal on a ground level that opened right onto the promenade of that particular ring.
Was there? Have you spoken to anyone that was investigating this from the Zapti, or was there any specific sort of investigator?
I'll be honest, I don't have a lot of contact with the Zapti. It's one of the difficulties of being a young guild, not having a voice on the council. The big 3 obviously have more engagement with, and some would even say control over the Zapti constabulary, but we're essentially just more citizens to them.
So the other guilds might know something.
They might know
if someone was to poke around, maybe.
If the Zapti have reported a set of facts which are not acceptable, somebody's pushing them to do so. One of the big three. So I would be cautious.
Careful
Talking
sniffing
to-
about them, yeah. I think we should do our own investigating first.
Master, do you have a means for us to contact you quietly?
Well,
If there's anything we feel you should know?
ticker messaging is supposed to be secure. We've always used it in the past. But if you need to contact me directly, you well know, as the rest of us do, the best thing would be to just come to the guild
The
house.
guild, yeah.
Very good, Master. Do you know what that tablet was? If it has disappeared from the archives, presumably they are seeking it.
Well, that's interesting that you bring that up. There was no indication while I was present that they were seeking it. It was deep in the archives. And you must understand, you, I'm sure, know well, out of character, you would probably know well, that the archives are, at this point, little more than a storehouse. Artifacts from the time of the foundation of Ship City, the majority of them, while recorded, are probably largely forgotten. I saw no indication among the archivists that they were looking for anything, and I'll be honest, I didn't inform them that it was missing, because that would then implicate an explorer in its theft.
Understood.
Okay.
So, do we want to take a short break there?
Yes, please, if you don't
And
mind.
then-
Sounds good.
I know
No.
we're probably well more than halfway through a session, but I still would like a wee break if you don't mind.
Definitely.
I have more time to play, so I mean, we can keep going for a bit after a short break.
Sweet, I'm happy. Right, okay, we'll be back momentarily.
All right, so when we left off, Master Muska was standing and preparing to leave you. It's kind of unspoken, but it should be understood that you all can stay here as long as you need to discuss before heading out. Obviously, it's the evening shift. The next shift would be the night shift, which presumably you will go back to your ship and sleep, because you gotta sleep. Otherwise, things start happening. You don't want to spend an entire next day exhausted, which is essentially what would happen.
Not in session one.
Not in session one. So, unless you have any other questions, in addition to what you asked before we went on break, everybody good with her heading
I
out?
think we're good.
Yeah.
Are we?
I think we're going to
Okay.
go back to our domicile, our ship, and sleep, and then I think we're going to investigate his apartment tomorrow, right?
I'll suggest we go and investigate the apartment now.
Yeah? So straight away?
Well, as I understand it, the apartment is on the lower level, but it opens from the front.
Correct.
And we're going to need to get into it without the proper key, if it's locked up. And doing it at night rather than during the day might be a little less obvious.
Be less seen, yeah, good point. That's right.
Okay.
There is the other risk of others may feel that the longer we leave it, the more likely
Somebody
is
else
the
might
place
be
will
in
be
doing the
further
same thing,
ransacked.
aye.
Yes. I mean, while an initial ransacking might be by the people involved looking for something, further ransacking maybe by elements purely looking for valuables, who might be looking for different stuff and take it by accident.
Oh yeah.
Just a thought. I felt it was worth raising.
No, yeah, I think you might be right. I think it's better to do that in the cover of
We can
darkness
always
for a start.
sleep tomorrow morning. There's nothing saying we have to get up early.
Well,
True.
so I will throw this out here. I like the idea of cover of darkness, and I'm not going to tell you guys what to do. Obviously, you can do as you like. But one thing to keep in mind is that it is never truly dark in
Yeah.
the chasm.
It'll never
Because
be light
Ship City doesn't rotate. You're always getting some of the light from Jamua, particularly into the upper levels of the chasm. Now, this is on level 5, so it will be less, but it will always be less, because, again, the light doesn't necessarily change in the chasm. Now,
but presumably, traffic
Go ahead.
will also be left.
You got it. So there are shifts, and it is understood that there is a morning, a day, an evening, and a night shift. So yes, most people will probably be at home sleeping during the night shift. There will be less traffic. I just wanted to be clear that there's in Ship City there is no night. There is just there are some areas that will adjust light according to the shift. But you can't do that in the chasm because the dome just lets in the light from Jamua 24 hours.
I will ask whether anyone has a torch or similar with them, because obviously turning the main lights on. I don't know whether there will be shutters or curtains on the front windows, but showing there's somebody in there might be awkward. Just a question.
No, the only thing I've got is a proximity sweeper. That's nothing else electronic.
Oh, that's handy. Yeah, something like a torch I won't let you spend supply on. That would be something you would need to buy. But there might be some
item, right?
Yeah, there might be some little bodegas and shops. Even Ship City never truly sleeps. In that way, it's very similar to Manhattan as well.
Mhm.
It's just there's less traffic in the night shift.
Well, I've got my lighter.
And technically, it's still the evening shift, so it's not even the dead of night yet.
There's
got your what? Oh, your lighter.
There's constantly a little bit of light glowing around his face anyway, because there's a cigarette.
Right.
You can always see where Osric is in the dark.
So are you guys then gonna get up and start heading out? And head? Yeah. Is that
probably a good idea?
Should we maybe get a flashlight, get a torch?
Well, before. So as you stand, and you can just. I imagine you would.
Was having a quick look round before we stand. Was anybody paying attention to Master Muska talking to us in the vicinity?
Or was anybody watching us? You mean?
Yeah.
Was anybody looking for that?
Well,
not at the time.
Nobody said anything.
Should have retroactive.
Okay, here, look. This is what I'll do. So in the future, if you want to be aware of something, you need to tell me.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to look at something, you need to tell me you're looking at it. If you and to be fair, if you're if you don't know that something is there, but you want to be like, hey, I don't know if there's an alcove or something that somebody might be. I'm looking around. Is there anything, right? So I need something from you for that.
Well, that's why I was doing it before we left, because if I have a look around and see who's around us now, when we get up and leave and walk out, then if we see them in our vicinity in the future, connection.
Right, but I'm just saying that Muska has already left, so technically you wouldn't be able to retroactively say you should have asked during that conversation. My apologies, I'm looking around, but I'll allow it. Let me handle both. When you were speaking to Muska, if anybody had been paying attention, aside from a few celebrants passing and a few attendants passing, nobody appeared to be taking that much notice of any of you. As Muska has left, you do notice that there is a warden who is standing before you all get up and leave. You will notice that there is a warden standing near your alcove, in plain sight, doing anything but standing and looking. Apparently, he's wearing a mask, intently in your direction.
I look at that guy and kind of just flicks my hands.
Oh, you look at him and make a motion?
Yeah. Just
if that's the case,
problem?
If that's the case, he steps forward. He says, "I'm so sorry," and he does something that to Osric, I think, will seem very strange. he reaches up, and you hear like a and removes his mask and hangs it on his belt.
That's unheard of.
Well, or it's a sign of extreme respect.
Mm-hmm.
But it is largely unheard of. That is correct.
Yes.
So he introduces himself as Ser, which is like an honorific, like Sir, Aran Mir Bilal. And I will show you a picture.
Yeah, I looked over to Osric. Is that supposed to mean something to us?
Do I recognize the name?
Well, he clearly is Coriolan. He's a Coriolite. But you don't specifically... Well, now that you're thinking about it, and now that you all see his face, he's very... and I can share this journal page with you now for people as well. He's very gaunt. He's clearly an official of some kind. He's dressed more fine than a lot of the attendants of the wardens. But his white painted face mask has markings that Osric would be able to recognize of devotion and authority. He's wearing layers of gray ceremonial robes, not white with yellow trimming. And he's moving with a very, very deliberate grace. His face is familiar, and it's taking you all a moment, but then you realize that this... I mean, it's strange, but this man... He seems familiar. And it's taking you a minute, so he'll open up and he'll say, I'm sorry to intrude, but I saw you at the ceremony for Najar, I believe it was, the explorer.
Yes, sir.
Condolences.
One of the founding fathers of our guild.
Indeed. That must be very hard. And he motions to one of the other attendants who comes up and he says, would you like tea? And then he looks down and he realizes, oh, I'm sorry, you've already taken... I don't want to take too much of your time. He seems a little flustered. But he says, did you know Najar well?
I personally didn't. I'm here to pay respects as a guild member, paying respect to a founding father of the guild, and I'm here representing the organisation, pay my respects on behalf of my place within the organisation. I did not know him personally.
So, again, if you want, anybody who wants to kind of really pluck at why his face is looking so familiar to you, go ahead and make a logic or an intuition roll, whichever is better for you.
Is this the rule for bullshit, is it?
Intuition.
No,
Is
remembrance. I think
insight.
probably remembrance.
Yeah, it's sorry, insight. Insight or logic, whichever
Insight
you
or
prefer.
logic? Right, I'm rolling on logic then.
There's a success.
Yeah.
For Edris.
2 for Ozil.
Yeah. Wow, Osric, sure. Not so much for Garita.
Remember, you can push, Brian. Remember, it's
You
one of
can
these,
push.
It's one of these freely games.
Don't
where
forget to hit your accepts.
You're pushing to generate meta currency. Am I right?
Yeah, to generate. To spend hope, actually.
Yeah.
It's 1 for Eco, 2 for Eco.
No, I'm just going to take it.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm
And I assume Rico, you're gonna. Max, I'm assuming you're gonna accept that one as well.
I've got a
the two successes.
A quick question. It's a quick above table question, but it's got a long answer, so I'll wait until after you resolve this. But remind me.
Okay.
It's a quick question with a long
So-
answer.
All right. So, those of you who succeeded, you realize that, especially having his name and seeing his face, Sir Aaron Mirbalal was actually the same warden who officiated the burial of the last Archimandrite. An Archimandrite being like a high up representative in the Coriolites would be essentially, if the Coriolites were a guild, it would be the equivalent of the guild master, but it's like the head of the whole group. And that burial must have been well over 40 years ago. Like you've well, I don't know if any of you are that old.
I wasn't
actually
even alive. No, I wasn't alive.
I'm in my 30s, yeah. So
think
I
I
was
was
quite
20.
No. He wasn't even born.
But with I mean, there is some level of education in Ship City, so you would have heard the name as being the person. And this guy, like, he doesn't look any older than 40.
Has he introduced himself? He has introduced himself to us.
He has introduced himself.
So
Yes.
I'm going to raise this as a thing. I'm going to say, I recognise that name. Either you or related to someone that was a burial for the Archimandrite? Is that right?
Oh, yes. No, that was me. I lead a sheltered life, and I try to live healthily. It's
That was a
I'm
while
older
ago.
than I look.
Am I right in saying?
It was.
good,
It
yeah.
was.
Yeah.
That would have been 40 years now, maybe 41. But yes, I oversee a lot of ceremonies for the high ups in the city. Unfortunately, your compatriot, fellow guild member, was not well respected, I'm sure, amongst your guild, but not
important
known enough. As you like.
Not
To
influential
put
enough.
words in your mouth. Okay.
But yeah, this man then must be older than he seems, is the point. But yeah, so he asks, and you've answered how you know him. He's like, oh, it's terrible when we lose a member of our guild. I feel for you. I wish we could end all such suffering on Ship City. Hopefully he passed peacefully.
I give him a look
that's-
I don't shake my head, but I give him a look as if to say, nah, unfortunately not. Give him just a look though.
Okay.
I think there's an element of playing dumb a little bit of, we're not privy to the. I don't know.
Shrug. I'm like,
We're not privy to the details.
So you're playing dumb, but Ozil kind of gives him a look.
As if to say,
And
I'm not sure if
he's-
that's the case.
He's fairly perceptive, so he's like, trouble?
Unsure.
No, I'm gonna. I'll. No, not trouble. Just obviously, this is a very testing moment for the members of the guild because this was one of our founding fathers, and we're a brotherhood, so we're all going through different emotional and different stages of grief. So some show it in different
Quick
ways.
I didn't
question.
see... Go ahead.
Can I ask a quick question? In my perusal of the guild archives, was there any mention of Nazar's origin? Was he of Coriolite birth?
No, he wouldn't have been a Coriolite.
This leads me back to
Actually-
my question.
The indications of his parentage and his upbringing seem to indicate that he was of the far colonies.
In that case, I shall politely ask in appropriate Coriolite verbosity why he's interested.
Well, I mean, when I see such a situation where the roles indicate that there were no apparent family members at the ceremony, especially for a man of his age. I grow concerned about well, if we're honest, what comes next. His effects. We had a few effects that were brought in with us or that were brought in with him as we prepared him. I have no idea who to give these to or to dedicate them into the pit, the well.
I shall bow politely and say, while he may not have blood relatives, he was a brother of all of us.
He is
Okay,
family to all of us.
Indeed, Master Muska considered herself his sister.
Well, perhaps I should send them on to the guild then.
If you are willing, we can take them to Master Muska directly.
Oh, I don't have them on me. I wouldn't carry such things around, such important artifacts that one might be carrying.
I'm at a loss. Were they in good condition, sir?
Oh, they seemed well enough.
Not broken, as one might expect from a fall?
Nothing appeared to be broken when given over to us. No.
What effects are there? If you don't mind me asking, what exactly are the items that would come to the guild? That you've.
They seem to be just personal effects.
Okay.
Well, if nothing was broken, was there anything which might have broken after a fall, sir? Because we understood from Master Muska that she had been told that such might be involved, although she herself had doubts.
Method of death is never reported to us. We just deal with the bodies and the effects as they're given. I didn't perform the appropriate rites myself, but from what little I did see, it did not appear that this man fell. What kind of effects do you think might have been broken?
Well, that was why I inquired. If there was anything kind of fragile or a tablet or something like that. If he had an electronic tablet, that would not survive such a fall, which is why I inquired.
So,
in other words, I'm not trying to say was he carrying a stone tablet of any kind. I'm
right. You did say the word tablet, though, and then came back. And then came back and said electronic.
Yeah.
So, okay. When he hears the word tablet, you see his face immediately peak in interest.
Oh yeah. Us guys with the
I will give you that because you are speaking to him directly. But you see, once you say electronic tablet, again, he kind of returns to that almost flat affect that the majority of the wardens tend to. Well, you wouldn't know, you haven't seen all of their faces, but they do. They tend to have a flat affect when they're not wearing their masks. He says, well, I will certainly send these objects on to the guild for Master Muska to determine what to do with. No need for you all right now. I would have to return to the complex where we hold such things and grab them. I'm sure you have other things you want to get on to.
Well, that would be very kind of you, Master. As I say, he was our brother, even if not of blood.
Yes, well, brotherhood can be interesting, can it not? He says, looking directly at Osric.
Indeed, Master. Sometimes one has to leave the family to go into the world and achieve that which is needed to keep Ship City alive.
Well, I won't keep you any longer. And he begins to move past you, deeper into the halls.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Okay.
There's no point in trying to follow him because he's obviously powerful enough that there's no chance.
So you should have access to his page now in your journal.
Max, you just went sideways.
Yes, I'm
What's-
just looking at that. Your
what-
phone has flipped you sideways.
You're sideways, Max.
Yeah, you went sideways.
Yeah.
While Max fixes that,
Yeah,
Brian,
sorry.
I'm gonna hit you with my question. He's back.
Yeah, hit me with your question.
Sorry if I missed this, but what is a Coriolite? Are they a different race? Are they a different species to us? And are we human?
No, it's a fair question.
No!
No, they're human. They are human. Coriolites are the best way to describe them, although it's not fully accurate, is the largest religious cult on
It's a
Ship
religion.
City.
Right. Okay.
To the point that they're not. They do tend to revere the icons more than anyone else on Ship City, and they are relatively insular and raise their own in specific ways. You may or may not know that Osric is a Coriolite, or at least raised among them, right? Whether or not he considers himself to still be such is certainly up to
It's
David.
pretty
David.
obvious from how he talks and
The
his
interaction.
views
Right.
in life. Yes.
So think of them as a culture in Ship City.
Right.
One of the strongest cultures that actually stands out as a separate culture, but
An
they're
ethnic
still
group.
human.
An ethnic group, basically.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Although it's not about ethnicity. Everybody on Ship City, like whoever they are, they're a guild, but they're not a guild, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
They are. Yeah. That help?
Action. Yes.
It's definitely a faction, yeah, for sure. But they're not a guild.
In the way that the Catholic
Yeah.
Church is a faction in real life.
Correct. And they tend to be
But
very
not a
wealthy.
country.
Would they
They
be
tend to
considered
be
powers that
very
be, then,
wealthy.
essentially?
No, actually, the powers that be on Ship City would be the big three. The Grand Council would be the Navigators, the Machinists, and the. Now, the Coriolites held power
Are they
at one point in
influential?
the history. Not as much as
Same
they
as
used to be.
Catholic Church.
Right, okay.
So that's
Yeah.
okay.
Like a church, yeah.
Or if you like, Orthodox Jewish.
Yeah, maybe along
And
those
there
lines.
Are
Sure.
There are members of the Coriolites in each of the guilds, probably angling for power in the guilds themselves. But it binds them together
Yeah.
as a separate group.
I'll put it this way: it is more of a culture, right? Because it is not uncommon to see, obviously, a Coriolite, somebody wearing a mask, and the masks are all unique. I should also point out, like, Coriolites are actually good at identifying each other by their masks,
Right.
to the point of most people can identify each other by their faces, right? Like, masks are unique, and they are maintained for, your life. There might be minor changes to it, but it's still one thing. But it's not uncommon to see masked Coriolites in every walk of life.
Right, yeah.
From people down in Corrosion Bay, potentially, a Coriolite who's very down on their luck, all the way up through members of the Navigators Guild and the Machinist Guild. But they are less common, right? For every 100, 200 people of non-Coriolite culture, you might see one Coriolite, right? The Wardens are a little bit different because they're a faction within a faction. They're a faction of Coriolites who run the City of the Dead. So obviously there's
The
a lot of
Wardens
them
are
around
all
here.
Coriolites, so that is a faction. And
Yes.
they're all Coriolites,
Oh.
right?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, they are trusted with the duty.
Like
Yeah.
the police
And quite
force of the
rightly so.
Coriolites,
Yes.
or security.
Well, no, they're not a police force. The Wardens, again, they're the Wardens of the Dead. So they're the people that
Okay.
run the City of the Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
they're
they
like
do it
the
without-
bombers.
Yes, they do it without fear or
Yeah.
favour. The
Correct.
guilds don't control them.
Yes. Neither does the Coriolite faction as a whole. They're just They just all happen to be Coriolites. They don't induct people into their group unless they are Coriolite to begin with.
Mhm.
You know, that's how they run.
Yeah.
Yeah, good question though. So yeah, Mir Bilal moves off, and
Told
you
you.
are all
Quick
able
question,
to.
long answer.
There's yep, yeah. You are all now able to go about your way. There is still some time left in the evening shift if you would like to have somebody go buy a flashlight somewhere, sorry, a torch, and then check out Najar's apartment. You certainly can if you like.
Okay, we are all familiar with methods of locking apartments and so on. So
I was just going to say,
does anyone
do you
have
want me to-
skills in that?
I've got stealth, but do you want me to buy a few lockpicks? Just
Well,
in
if we're
case.
going
Might
to
come
try
in
and get into the
handy.
place, it may be locked.
I mean, my thing for
Where-
Rico is either it's a door, I can go through a door.
Where are you
Yes,
going to
but
buy
it's on-
lockpicks?
But it's on the main promenade, isn't it?
Oh, I clicked on the equipment and vehicles. I was going to find
Yes,
a
but-
merchant.
Electric
Yes,
lantern. Is that what
Where
I'm
in
looking
Ship
for?
City are you going to go shopping for lockpicks?
Does anybody have a contact in the Toad?
Brian, is it electric lantern that I'm looking for?
No.
Yes.
I will buy one of them, boys. Give me a sec.
That is easy to find. You can find that in any small shop or bodega that might still be open.
And that was 200. Okay, I'll buy one of them, boys.
What are
I've
lockpicks
got-
under? Are they even on the
Lockpicks.
lists?
Yeah.
Oh, I've
Tools
only
and
got
kits,
300
is that what
fine
they are?
tools.
left now.
Oh yeah.
Tools and kits.
Maybe.
Right.
Oh yeah, lockpicks.
I've
So,
got an electric
they're not-
lantern now, boys.
They're not restricted, but my question stands, where are you going to go to shop for them?
So I have.
Go
A
down
lockpick
to...
is generally like an illegal.
What did- what
it's
did-
not restricted, but
what,
like
what was the name of the place at the bottom of Ship City? Like the slum?
the haze.
No,
Oh, Corrosion Bay.
Corrosion Bay. I think you should go there because I think the black market there, you buy things there on the black market and no one says nothing to nobody. I reckon that's where you buy dodgy shit.
This,
Yeah, you could probably head down to Corrosion Bay and find somebody selling some lockpicks.
well, it's either there or aluminium bay or aluminum bay.
Well, the haze is closer. The bottom of the chasm. You might
Somewhere in
find
the
somebody
haze?
to buy them from there as well.
Well, does
You're
anybody
going
have
to the
any-
chasm, so going down into the haze might be easier.
Does anybody in our group have contacts with the Toad?
Black toads? Anyone?
I think so.
No, I'm part of the Navigators Guild.
No,
Gardeners.
Okay.
So
Three-
let's see. Hang on.
I've only got one
Let me look.
contact. So at the moment,
We've got a botanist, a hull guard, first servant cur, a hull cutter, and a Zapti officer for contacts. Nobody has connections with the toads.
I think I'll go to. What did you say? The haze. The haze.
Okay. Yeah.
And see if I can grab some lockpicks from there.
Okay. You can
my
take a
background.
ride
So
down
this
into
is
the haze.
right? Like this bit here.
I'm pretty sure.
Would it be worth just wandering past one of the apartments in that general area and check whether it's mechanical or electronic lock?
So the majority of locks that you're going to see in Ship
Mechanical,
City
I
are going to
think,
be
yeah.
mechanical.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, think of it. The technology level's quite steampunk, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, it'll take you some time to head down into the haze and then come back up to the fifth ring. Are you all going to travel together, or are you all going to meet at
You've got to
Najar's
find
apartment,
a torch.
or
You want to
I'll-
meet at the apartment? I'll meet
yeah,
you all
we'll
at
meet
the
at the
apartment if you
apartment.
want.
Yeah. So
If I get caught with
Okay.
lockpicks on me, I can fast talk my way out of it. Maybe.
and
Well,
nobody's
maybe.
packing, right?
nobody's
Nope.
packing. I'm
all,
not anyway.
all I'm carrying is my pickaxe. That's all I have on me.
Okay, I mean that's a tool technically.
And that's
so
fine. Yeah, you can carry that.
I got a dagger on me, but that's it.
No,
Heck yeah.
no
Well, I
laws
mean,
against
that's-
daggers.
No laws against that.
A funeral?
Yeah, that's always something we can look for later. If anybody want to grab a little extra, something to carry around, we can't get a gun right
A
now.
little side piece for
Have
in the
something later.
city. It might be worth getting a
Yeah.
side piece for in the city because it can't carry guns around here.
Mhm.
Just something to
Just to
defend
protect
yourself with.
yourself, yeah. I'm hopefully
Well, you
not
got
gonna protect
fists.
myself. I bet. Hopefully, that doesn't come to that for me. I'm not the I'm not the fisticuffs type.
I'm not too bad. I'm not too bad with my fists, to be fair.
And there is
so I'm
actually-
gonna do
Sounds
that.
really good for-
I'm good with books and maps and charts.
There is actually an unarmed combat option that we can add to your sheets as well if you get into trouble in the chasm. So you travel down. I don't know however many you purchase. Make sure you remove your ruck from for the lockpicks and for the electric torch. And I assume you've moved the items to
do I
your
need to buy
character sheets.
batteries?
I'm just gonna do it now.
No. If something happens to where I'm going to question whether or not you have batteries, that's what supply's for.
Yeah. Yeah, you would use one supply to find a battery for it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Makes sense.
And you've already
do
moved that
I-
to your sheet, I assume.
Just
How do you change the number?
yeah.
So right click on lockpicks, hit edit,
Edit.
go
yeah.
to config,
Yeah, that's it.
and then roll down until you see quantity
I'm gonna buy 6
and
of them,
change that.
which is
Okay, so that's
300 rock.
300. Yeah.
While he's doing that, I will suggest that we venture to the vicinity and just check if anybody has that place under surveillance.
Okay.
How do I change my rock value? Sorry, I don't know. It's not.
It's in equipment. On
You
your
can't just
character
click on it. Oh, hang on. So one thing that they have in this game, I'm not quite sure why it's in the module, but at the very top of your sheet, next to the X button to close it, there's a little toggle that toggles between edit mode and play mode.
Yep.
You want to be in edit mode if you want to change stuff like your ruck and stuff like that.
yeah.
So you should be able to change it if you're in edit mode now. Hopefully.
Thing is,
Yeah,
in
you got
edit
it.
mode, you can still roll dice.
Exactly. So I don't know
okay.
why there's a play mode.
Yeah, I think
I don't know. I just leave it to
it's
edit
different
mode.
for different sheets, but in this
Yeah.
system, it appears that you could sit in edit mode.
You just leave it in edit.
Leave
Yeah.
it in edit mode. Yeah.
While I'm in haze, I'm going to buy something to defend myself with, but that isn't.
Oh. What would you
isn't,
like to buy?
I'm just looking now, seeing if I can find something which won't get flagged as a weapon.
Thing is, you're only
Pickaxe.
just not.
So if it's not a
you-
firearm, you're fine.
You're allowed a weapon.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just not firearms.
I'll get.
Yes.
I'm going to buy some brass knuckles then,
Nice.
Okay.
Ooh,
Alright.
nice.
because my guy is handy. Stick them on.
Sounds like
Okay.
your character. I like it.
All right. So assuming we're all moving into the chasm then for dealing with Najar's apartment, we
Yeah.
can at least get started with that today. Maybe another half hour or so, maybe
I mean,
45.
I've got no second game today, mate. So if
Okay.
I just need to feed
So-
my son at some point.
Hey, I'm hungry.
Are we all coming to the chasm?
I'm
Do I
Oh,
need
yeah.
to pull everybody?
I'm on my
Oh,
way
no,
there.
Is
now.
it,
you don't. What's the button for the chasm?
Is that 2?
Number 2, yeah.
Number
two,
2
right?
on Ship City. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So, again, if you mouse over the name, you get your little description. The core of Ship City is the almost kilometer-deep cleft into the asteroid known simply as the Chasm. Centered around the dizzying drop are palaces, residential areas, gardens, restaurants, night spots, and institutions, all hugging the steep walls as if to get a glimpse of the starry sky visible through the seriglass of the dome at the top. There are many wondrous places in Ship City, but the most of the city's dwellers would agree that no other is quite like the majestic chasm. So, Najar's apartment, as you were told, is 5th ring spinward. So that should be an option for you guys to move into.
Yep.
Yep.
Is this one of
There we
yours,
go.
Brian?
This is one of mine.
Then it
All right,
is.
so I am going to pull your tokens to the scene.
Oh yes.
All right, so you guys are in place. You know that Najar's apartment is roughly over here. It's the only domicile that it looks like you can actually move into.
I'm with the guard outside.
But as you approach, there is a Zapti guard who is standing in front of the door.
And okay.
Did I link you together with the bird, or did you do that, David?
I did that.
We can do that
Okay.
ourselves. We can all control the bird. So if you draw a box, you can move yourself and the bird together.
I gotcha. So as you're walking along the promenade, like I said, a lot of these buildings, as you look to the left and right, some of them on the promenade itself backed up to what would be the railing or the edge. And there is a railing. This isn't Star Wars. They don't just have open edges for people to fly off of all the time. But the railing, to be fair, is only maybe about chest high. So it is something that you could climb up.
Mm-hmm.
And or somebody could maybe throw someone.
Over. Yeah.
As we approach, oh, go on, sorry.
I don't know if we're
Sorry.
ready. To
Yeah,
start
go ahead.
killing
No.
guards
I was
yet.
gonna say, as we approach the apartment, we can see this guard.
Yeah, I mean there is light, so I mean, you know, it's the dim red light of Jamua, but yes, you can see.
I have a look to see if there's any other entrances into that apartment. Other
Sure.
than the
So
front.
a lot of the buildings on this promenade are multi-story. So the buildings as you lead up to it are multi-story. The other ones are. There does appear to be a multi-story component to Najar's apartment, but it also looks like there is a roof, and from barely what you can see, it looks like there might be a skylight that is on the part of the roof that is not covered by the rest of the buildings going up, right? You also notice that it doesn't look like there's exterior, it doesn't look like there's a way into those upper stories, so it might be from a connecting building or something like that. Difficult to say. As you're approaching from that direction, you do note that the curved wall is an entire bank of windows. So this probably was like a commercial spot at some point. But the windows appear to have all been, from what you can see, they're obscured. You cannot see into the apartment. And there does not appear to be light coming from the apartment. And then as you get into a certain position, you can see the Zapti guard there. She's standing at attention. She looks very serious.
We
Well,
need to
I
talk
mean, not
about
like
before
seriously
we
mean
go.
or anything like that, but she is standing at attention, wearing a fine uniform. Definitely better put together than some Zapti you've seen, but they run the gamut, right? You know, some pride themselves in their work, and some are just doing the job for money.
The Zapti, is that the government or the police or?
So the Zapti Constabulary, and again, there's a note for it in your journal if you want. They were instituted to fulfill guild law. They are essentially the Grand Council's police force.
Ah, the Gestapo.
Depending upon who you are and why they're sent after you, they might be seen that way. I'm sure some people in Corrosion Bay see them that way, but to be fair, they're
The Five, the Filth, the Cops, the Rosers.
they are, but also again,
One
they
time.
function specifically to maintain guild law.
Protect. Ship City is the first and foremost function. I
Exactly.
assume.
Does your average Joe
You-
city citizen respect them?
I think it depends on where you live in Ship City.
How,
Right, aye.
A lot of
Status
people in the
and stuff.
chasm would respect them.
how many people are around us apart from the guard? at this
Apart from the
moment in
guard,
time?
it's very light. There might be a few people moving along the promenade. Say, at maximum, you on your way here, and kind of even as you're loitering and looking in the direction of the apartment, you maybe see 5 or 6 people pass by, but they seem to be very intent on getting to a location. Not like scared or anything. This isn't a particularly rough part of the chasm. They're just on their way home or on their way out to a night on the town. They're not, this is not a very heavily trafficked area, at least at this point.
I'm thinking we can either do one of two things. We can either distract her, or I can try and sneak in another way.
I
But that
trying
means
to
you
keep it-
guys don't get to come in with me. If I distract her, I could try and chat her up.
and then the 4 of us could maybe get in, or you could
Yeah.
sneak in and one of us gets in. I kind of
Well,
like the idea of you
can't
sneaking
the
in, I
bird-
think.
Can we see through the bird's eyes anyways?
No, but if
Nope.
somebody is carrying the Garuda device, the bird can communicate with you to a
And
point.
Osric carries the Garuda device at all times, right?
Well, yes.
Yeah.
I
What
mean,
about sending the bird for a look?
Would it be able to have a look at that skylight and see whether it's opened and let us know? Or is that above its intelligence level?
Oh no, it's not. I think we will handle that as a. No, I don't like that. I think we'll handle it as a scout.
Okay.
Because essentially that's what you're doing, or requesting it to do. So, let's see. No bird damage. No, I don't want any of that. Where is? Oh, that's probably in the delve section.
Bird handler roll?
Bird handler will apply, as will your bonus +1 for being the bird companion. So go ahead and make a roll for that with intuition. And then I'll determine whether or not you need to.
Logic.
No, it's intuition. All
Insight?
interactions with the bird are insight. Yes, all
Insight.
interactions with the bird are insight.
Fair enough. In that case, so I'm +1 base dice,
3-0, Dave.
insight. I don't think it's important enough for bird candy this time, so let's try that.
2 successes.
Oh, 2's pretty good.
Oh, wait, no, I'm looking at the wrong rule.
One success.
One success.
One.
I hadn't scrolled down. I was looking at somebody else's
Oh,
roll.
1's good too. So yeah, I'm just trying to see. We might just have to make a decision here. I'm not going to require that you spend energy for this. I think a roll is enough. So, what does it look like? You coaxing the bird to do this for you? What are you doing?
Well, I'm out of sight of the guard for one thing. I'll stay round the corner. So,
Okay.
in other words, in there. And what are these 2 items? Are they?
Like a dumpster and like maybe a potted tree or plant of some kind.
Okay.
Furniture.
In
Random
that case, wait until nobody's actually going along, and then I will use the Garuda device to persuade the bird to fly up and over the top there and
So
scout that for me.
the Garuda device is used to interpret the bird's communication. I want to know how you're going to communicate with the bird. Do you just talk to it? Or do you use hand signals? What do you do to engage with the bird? It's up to you.
Ah, right. So it's not that there is a normal way of doing it.
No.
Okay. In that case, I shall whistle to it.
You whistle. Okay.
It may sound a bit like Morse code type whistle, bird machine language or something, but I whistle to it quietly.
Okay. So yeah, it kind of cocks its head and listens to you and then flies up above. What exactly are you wanting it to look for?
An access into the roof space.
So yeah, it just does a quick like flap up and then it's on the roof and you can hear it kind of, its talons kind of scrabbling along on some of the, there's probably some scree that's built up over time of small rocks and things like that falling from higher heights. But you hear it scrabbling around up there, not super loud, like it's up there, so you notice it. Yep. It's not anything that the guard would necessarily notice. And then, again, it takes off and comes down and lands on your shoulder and waits for you to pull out the Garuda device.
Pull out the Garuda device and then try and make sense of what it's telling me.
And yeah, it just kind of looks intently at the Garuda device, and you see the text appear on the screen. And Garuda devices.
Do I need to make a Garuda device roll? He says, having seen that on his equipment.
No, not for this. Okay. This is just basic. This isn't like Delve related, so I won't make you roll for this. But you see on the screen, in a Garuda device, imagine like the thickest handheld tablet you can imagine, with a CRT screen on it, with big like block dot matrix font, and you see the readout, and it says something along the lines of per query, access point skylight locked. Next query.
Can we assume it's a mechanical lock?
Yes, you can assume it's a mechanical lock.
Other access query, ventilation query.
Per query, no ventilation seen. Stop, maybe in higher building. Stop, not connected. Stop, next query.
End up to the higher building, Luke, maybe.
I'm thinking I get rid of this guard.
Well, I'm saying you probably could have the Garuda. You can have the bird watching the guard from up the roof, watching it, because in case if we're doing something and give us warning.
Agreed.
Well, again, the bird has to come back to give you a warning. Like there's no distance communication with the bird.
It's silent. It's completely silent. It can only communicate with Dave. Because of the device.
Well, it can only communicate through the Garuda device.
Yeah. Dave's the only one that can talk to it at any distance.
And Dave has to, because he asked about making a Garuda device roll, because sometimes you have to, Dave has to like tweak the Garuda device and move dials and stuff and hit some switches to make it resolve into accurate communication from the bird. It's not a perfect translation.
I picture an extra sketch.
Like an extra sketch.
Yeah. So it has like a distorted voice, kind of little wave modular thing. And he's sitting.
Yeah, maybe something like that. Sure. And then it resolves into text.
It sounds more and more like an etch a sketch every time you describe it.
Did you say?
Yeah.
There was a dumpster nearby.
Aye, that's what this square one was.
Yeah, Osric's right next to it.
I'll ask you. Can you have a look at the next building up, the next story up? Because is it worth me? Would you be able to get access to that by climbing? Should I send the bird to check the next building, the next story up for access?
You're asking me? Sorry.
Well,
keep in mind the bird in reference to the rest of the building it did say not connected.
That's
Right,
what I
fine.
heard. Yeah, so there's a separation between the
gap.
build. So this building's
Ah,
isolated on
right,
its own.
fine.
So it's like different kind of floors or something. Probably.
And probably connected to another entrance, not to
I'm getting
this ground floor
I'm
building.
getting Hitman vibes of if I could get this guard's attention over to where we are, we can.
Stuff her in
I've
a
got.
dumpster.
That's what I'm thinking. Knock her
I
out.
thought that's what you were thinking, yeah.
Not kill her, but knock her out, and
Stuff her in a
Or
dumpster,
I could try and sweet talk her into getting into the building, maybe.
An aerial
that's your
just
job,
passed
sweet talker.
overhead.
Well, could I?
Hey,
How are you guys going to cover your faces so she doesn't recognize you?
Well,
Keep in mind, it's not dark. Like there is
Even-
light.
Osric just
Even-
whipped out a mask.
even my mask is unique.
Yes.
It is.
It's just just as recognisable as a face.
Yeah.
To a Coriolite.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
Could I-
getting
could I
even non-lethally, I will tell you all, even non-lethally, getting into a scuffle with a Zapti officer,
It's not good.
especially
It's
one
tough.
who might then later be able to identify you, it might not be tough for the 5 of you to disable her,
To beat
but
her,
like,
I think the consequences.
She can
are quite
recognize you.
bad,
No.
Yeah.
and she's a Zapti officer. It's like,
Yeah, we're going to be in jail
What-
in episode 2, and the campaign's going to be fucked.
No, is there any way that we can be? Is there any way we can bullshit our way through and say
think
like, "Hey, we're
bullshit-
part
That's
of
what
it.
I'm
We're
thinking.
here to."
you can try.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
bullshitting is the way to go.
Could
I've
we
got
lift
the
Edris-
empathy.
Could
I've
we
got-
lift Edris onto the roof to see whether he can jimmy?
On
You
the
might
side.
be able to
skylight?
bust the lock open, aye. It's
I would
mechanical,
say that's
look.
also very possible. Sure.
Because if that's possible, then we could lift others onto the roof.
Right.
Well,
I could lower
I'm
down
so
So
strong.
here's something. So here's something that does use supply for rope.
That's what I was thinking. Get me on the roof.
Listen,
Like
I.
if you
I'll
guys,
throw a rope
if
down.
somebody wants to spend a point of supply to, well, you boost Edris up. Somebody spends
Yeah.
a point of supply to produce some rope, and then the rest of you can climb up. You
I
can
would
certainly do that.
I
She's
would
not
like
going
to
to
get
see
in
you
there
on this side.
because I'm reminding myself of my talents, and I've got one that's really handy if I get in there. I've got +1 base die per talent level. No, sorry, +1 base die per talent level when searching an area for clues. I need to get in
There you
there with that talent.
Well,
Well,
I have supply with me, and I'm happy to knock off a point
Yeah.
of supply.
I've
We could have a rope.
got on me, Brian. I've got a climbing kit, basic, which has rope in it,
There you go.
which I
Oh,
bought.
okay.
That'd be a go.
There you
So
go.
then, Dave, you don't need to spend your supply. Take it back.
Okay.
Get me on that roof, boys.
Get him on that roof.
Hey,
So-
I could do it.
Lifting
I could do
him,
it.
well,
You just like throw me.
lifting him
Yeah.
onto the roof is not a problem. I would make you roll if you were climbing up yourself, but being lifted, it's not super high.
There's 4 of us.
You guys can get him up onto the roof, right? Or you can move the dumpster over. Do you want to move the dumpster over? That might make some noise.
No,
I was
she's
just
going to hear
thinking
that
about
and
the
come
noise.
look in.
No. I'd say I could probably toss
Okay.
him up there. I like. Yeah, I go quietly around there, and I'm like.
He's
look
not a
at the other
dwarf.
two out the-
You're not tossing him.
Are you
He's
the
a
one with-
full-grown man.
Are you our strong character, Max? You've got strength.
He is
have you?
strong. Yes.
Yeah.
awesome.
I have 6 strengths, and I have basically like a talent that
You're
lets
the,
me.
what's it called? The
throw
digger.
stuff
You're
up.
the guy that does the actual digging, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. mhm.
So, long story short, you get him up there. Whoever wants to assist, is everybody going to try and get up on the roof and go in, or are you going to? Is somebody going to be
I'm
outside,
going to try and go in,
keeping
if
an
that's
eye
all
on
right.
her? Like, what are you guys going to do?
We need to have someone watching because I'll get this lock undone hopefully.
I would probably say Oliver
I-
and Dave go up there.
I think the 2 of us go in, Dave, because I've got the investigator talent, so I need to get in there.
I've got stealth, so yeah, I'll get this.
I'm
Do
talking
I have
to
to
her.
roll for this window?
I'm
by the
keeping
way,
her
the
busy.
skylight?
Garita just went up to talk to her. Cool.
I know he's
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hey, baby, how you doing?
Hey, you know, please.
We need a signal as well for when
Nice.
she decides to investigate.
Well,
So-
if I'm outside with the Garuda bird and the skylight is open, I can send it in and ask it to peck you.
So the minute we see the bird,
That's
come
true.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you see the bird,
Yeah.
it's
No, we're in
out,
trouble.
Ski. Yeah. All right.
Okay,
in
so
that case,
we're
I
we're
shall
gonna
stay
handle
behind-
this.
I'll stay outside with the dumpster and the bird,
Okay.
etc.
I'm gonna keep a lookout. That's what I'm doing. I'm
You
sitting there
look
against
out.
the building, just looking out,
Garuda's
like this
distracting
way
her.
and that way. So I have. Yep.
Okay. I
Won't
want
you
to
need
do.
Won't you need to get on the roof to lift them back out of the skylight?
To help us out.
Because
Oh yeah.
No, he's got a climbing kit. He's got
Oh
rope.
yeah, we've got climbing kit.
okay,
I've got that.
Yeah, he got.
And you guys are experienced delvers at this point. I'm with a low risk situation. You guys can all climb some rope. Like it's not that
I
big
say
of a deal.
breaking their house is nothing. Breaking a house is
Okay.
easy training.
So we're gonna handle this in phases. Phase 1.
Sweet.
Brian, you are walking up to speak to her.
Yes.
I would like you to make an empathy roll. I like that you open with Lee, so I'm going to give you a bonus 1 base die on your
Okay.
empathy. Do you have anything else that will help, just like a random encounter like this and talking to her? Talents and stuff, I don't think you do.
No.
I can lend you my cigarettes and you can ask her for a light.
She doesn't look like the person who's going to smoke tobacco, especially not on
I
duty.
don't have much empathy.
That's why he's a smoker.
So
No,
go ahead and make your empathy roll with 1 bonus base die. Oh, so she's
Ooh,
like,
I had this.
Lee?
Yeah, leave Cavani.
Cavani. Sounds familiar. I don't know if he's patrolling or anything tonight though.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, I've heard of him. I don't know if I've ever walked a beat with him or anything. Okay, so you guys start chit-chatting, and I love it. Now I want Dave and Oliver, who has the better agility score?
Ooh,
Or sorry, who has the worst agility score?
I think my agility's
And
quite
no bonuses for stealth of any kind.
good. Oh, no, my agility's 5.
Mine's 5.
Oh,
I
Wow,
don't
both
have.
It's my second best stat.
okay. So I'm going to ask you, who wants to roll? Whoever wants to roll for stealth, you're going to get 2
I've got-
bonus dice because she's distracted.
I've got the
But
plus
only
as
one of
well
you
for
is going to make the
stealth.
roll.
He gets.
Well,
he gets a
then
bonus on
it can't be you because it's got to be the worst person. So in this
Okay, it's
case,
me then. So
it
I'm
has to
rolling
be
stealth.
Oliver.
Right.
Come on.
How do you roll stealth?
So just make
Just
an
roll
agility
agility.
roll with 2 bonus dice.
Manual bonus plus 2 dice. Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Cool.
2 might be a lot, but that's fine.
One
Okay,
success.
you made it.
I'll accept that.
So you guys. Excuse
Bless
me.
you.
That's you.
You guys move stealthily across the roof. Dave, I'm gonna need you to now try and unlock the skylight because it is locked.
Mhm.
So that'll also be agility. Plus, you get to add in the lockpick. Plus, if you have any talent that applies to unlocking things.
Oh, so if I click on the lockpick, it says select the attribute. So I click agility in there. Yes.
Uh-huh. Yep.
And then you're rolling it with the bonus of the lockpick built in.
Yep.
And
You roll
then
it from the equipment. Okay, I'm on.
Man, someone's nicer.
Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, you get that opened up.
When it says
And,
5 DB,
the-
that means 5 dice. No,
Base dice.
and then 2 dice gear. 5
Gear,
dice base
yep.
and 2 dice gear.
Correct.
Cool.
Nice.
Just like a
So
bit of
you and Ozil are able to drop down into the apartment then. So we will come back to you. Now, what are Osric and Rico doing?
Rico is
I'm-
basically, as I said, his.
Go ahead, Rico.
As I said, his back is against the building, so he can watch the left hand side. So he has a 180 view. So if anybody's coming this way, if the guard or somebody's coming out that way, he's watching both ways of the entryways.
Okay. All right. So back to Brian. What are you chit-chatting with her about, just in general? You can do some specific chit-chat, and I can respond.
Probably it's like just basic bullshitting, just to keep her
Okay.
dizzy. Like nothing.
Okay. Cool. So I mean, she'll talk with you for a bit, but before long, she does say, "Look, I appreciate that your friend is one of us. I am on the clock here, though. I can't chit chat all night. Did you need something, citizen?"
No, I was just wondering if you knew he was around. He told me that this part of his beat's around here, but no, if you don't know, that's okay. And
I don't. Do you want me to pass a message on to him? What's your name?
Good there. How do you?
What was that?
Yeah, just tell him look, Garda says hi, and hope we meet up again soon.
Oh, okay. I mean, I can do that for you. You have a good evening.
You too. And I'll just continue on,
Okay.
just not to bring the suspicion back towards them.
Okay, sure. What are Rico and Osric doing? Just holding position?
I'm trying to stay out of sight with the bird in the corner, and Rico is just leaning nonchalantly against the building,
Watching tennis.
watching.
Okay. And
The best lookout you can get.
is Ashes close to you, or do you want Ash's position to watch her?
No, Ashes is close to me. So
Fair enough.
If Rico gives me the signal that there's a problem, then I can quickly whistle to Ashes to go and heck.
Gotcha.
So. Yeah.
Okay. So, in that case, then, for Dave and Oliver, you two can move into Najar's apartment.
Love how it just came up as a little. You can click me now.
That's cool. Like you get a map within a map. I like that.
Okay. And that means I need to pull up my notes again. So, Najar's apartment.
Are the rest of us allowed to click into Najar's apartment to see what's going on?
Sure, you can if you like.
Yeah, just
If
no
we
meta
die.
game. Yeah. We're all
Yeah.
experienced players.
Yeah, it's just
no
like
meta game.
you're still watching the story, but you're not involved into it.
See the magic.
Yeah, you still need to see the story, like.
Oh no,
So-
no, that's not a talking fish on the wall, is it? He's not one of
Billy
No,
Bass.
no.
No, it's like
Oh,
looking at
Sing
That'd be
the
really
Elvis.
funny.
Thinking
That'd be really
talking
funny.
ass.
Start singing an Elvis
Okay,
tune loud as fucking we get rumble.
Press the button.
As you drop into the room, you find a small two-room dwelling with rounded arches worked into the stone walls that would lead deeper. They're just alcoves, though. And the walls and the arches themselves are painted in the turquoise of the Mirren style, being a style, an ancient classical style from back in the Third Horizon. The apartment, though, is in total disarray. The floor is covered with shards of broken vases, paper, books, and old clothes. Thin curtains flutter in a breeze coming from the open skylight, but then you notice behind the curtains that the windows themselves have been kind of just pasted over by essentially like old papers, maybe a few old news articles, just all the length of the curvature of that building, the windows have all been obscured.
Okay.
Assuming you guys are going to take some time to look around in here,
I'd like to roll with my bonus dice for clues.
well, why don't you tell me what you're looking at first?
So, I mean, we're looking for evidence of a struggle, a fight, an altercation, because we don't believe this man died
Anything,
from a fall.
yeah,
but
yeah.
we think he might have died here this is we think this is probably the location where he died, but we don't think he died from a fall. So we're looking for like a banister from a room above where a banister's broken and someone might have been thrown off. But we're looking for damage to like a serious dent in a wall or something where somebody's maybe hit it. We're looking for even bullet holes in walls, things like that, blood stains, that kind of clues of violence.
Are you looking around at any rubbish on the floor?
Yeah, looking at everything, I suppose.
Yeah.
There
Okay.
might be a weapon inside the rubbish on the floor. There might be blood on some of the broken vases or glass.
Maybe.
So I'm checking out the bits of broken glass and stuff to see if there's blood and shit, yeah.
I will take a perception roll then from both of you. And this is looking for clues, Oliver, so you get your talent bonus.
On it, right?
Uh-huh.
Now how do you roll with your talent? You just do a roll and then add it.
So if you just click on perception, you should have an option to add talent, add equipment.
Talent. And what was it? It's the investigator.
It's over there, says Edris.
Yeah, that's
right.
It's got 3 successes. I don't even need to bother rolling here. Yeah. But
yeah, you got none.
I've got none, but it's my first failure. I might use this as my first opportunity to push a roll.
Okay.
See if it. Yeah.
So remind us exactly why we're pushing rolls, how the meta currency works, Brian.
So when you push a roll, it's going to re-roll every die that isn't a success.
Or a
is that right? I think it re-rolls everything.
Yep.
I think ones are only a problem if you roll another one.
Oh, right. Okay, when you push. One's only a problem when you push.
And it costs you a
hope
for a re-roll.
It does. It costs you a hope and then an additional hope for every additional one.
Yes.
So it cost me 1 hope to push it.
Base, yes, no matter what the result is. And then if the result contains ones, even if it's successful, every one that you roll is going to cost you an additional hope.
And what does...
So at this point, you're going to re-roll all 6 dice.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna.
If you push it.
3 successes. No, that's Edris's roll. 1 success, 2 hope lost.
Yeah.
So what's the benefit of losing hope?
There's no benefit.
Well,
no benefit.
There's no benefit. It's that's the cost. You lose hope to be able to push. Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm just because I'm thinking of it from the Forbidden Lands point of view. In Forbidden Lands, that gains you willpower when you push and you get the ones, and it's
you're not gaining anything. It's just that's what the cost is to be able to do it.
Got it.
Yeah,
got it. So I didn't really need to do that because he had 3 successes, but I wanted to see how the worked. I wanted to see how it worked. So
the lesson, isn't it? Yeah.
To be fair, I could have let you guys roll together. There is a cooperation rule, I believe.
Like an assisted roll. So
other explorers or NPCs can help you succeed at a die roll, must be declared before any roll of dice. Whenever someone helps you, you get 1 extra base die. A maximum of 3 explorers may help you, thus adding 3 base dice. So I think in the future, when we have a situation like this where you're both searching, we'll just default to a help roll.
Yeah, okay.
Oliver probably would have made the roll since he has the investigative talent.
Yeah. And then I could.
And then you would have added a die, right? But that's fine for how it happened here. We'll take the 3 successes, which is quite good. And you're actually going to find a bunch of stuff. So the first thing that stands out to you, just because it stands out, is there is a blue feather, a Garuda feather, that is sticking out from underneath a book. Make sure everybody
not marking a page
that.
in a book, is it?
No. It's under the book, so it's not marking a page.
Okay. And it's identifiable as a Garuda feather, as in a bird.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a Garuda feather. It has that feel to it. Now, what I have done for all of these handouts, particularly for items like the feather, is they are items as well. So does anybody want to hold the Garuda feather? It has no weight.
You want to take it, Oliver, because you've got the clue.
Probably he's the one that found it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Oliver, move that onto your sheet. That should be there now. The blue
Yes,
feather,
the
sure
blue
is.
feather. Thank you.
Okay. So, again, clearly a Garuda feather stuck under a book. You know, that is what that is. Speaking of books, you do find 3 books. And technically, Osric already has one of these, but I wanted to keep it under my hat for a while, but I'll now make it visible to everybody. Let's see, let's set observer to all of these.
Salamander God.
Book of Glyphs, maybe?
A book of glyphs.
Yeah.
Where
So,
am I looking for
first
these?
of all,
Is this in the
you
journal?
have the Salamander God.
Mm-hmm.
These are all being added to your journal as well.
Yeah.
This is a treatise on the object found in New Yestipol in 175. Why can't I scroll down there? I don't like that. One of the very few artifacts found in the Great Dark to portray a living creature.
Mhm.
Then you have this book, Nadir, Hoax or Mystery. Dialogue, plumbing the annals of what is known or suspected about the legendary Ark ship Nadir. And finally, the other major book that stands out to you, there's probably more than just 3 books, but these are the ones that stand out to you, is the Book of Glyphs.
Is it in better condition than my copy?
I think we could
It's-
grab all those books anyway.
It's probably more thumbed than my copy.
Yeah, it's definitely very thumbed, very worn.
Mhm.
But if you look in the journal, it does actually list all of the major glyphs and their
Oh, yeah.
associations.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So builder glyphs are something of import because they do in the history of Delvers and the explorers, they do seem to have something to do with the ruins that they're found in, and so people have been collecting information about them as much as can. These are just the major glyphs. There are a lot of minor builder glyphs as well that seem to be more of a language than the glyphs themselves are. And the best way to describe the minor glyphs is, I believe, I might be wrong, but I believe it was Sanskrit that's just like slashes and arrows and
Think so.
stuff. Whatever
so, yeah.
real world language is like that, that's kind of what the builder language looks like. It's lines and in different diagonals and orientations, but the glyphs are generally much larger and seem to have
More intricate.
inherent meaning.
Yeah.
Sorry, the major glyphs anyway. So,
We can-
you know,
we-
anybody who
we
wants to
can
take
actually read
these.
books.
What did they weigh? Anything? The books? I'm assuming.
Did I set the
yeah.
books away anything? Yeah, they do. Books
do.
weigh 1.
I could take the books because I've got. I think
Grab
I'm
them,
only
mate.
up
If you
to
grab
4.
you grab the books then, because I've only got 1.5 encumbrance space
Yeah.
left.
I'll get the books.
Okay. Books are all added for Edris. Now, there is a final thing that you find. It's kind of crumpled under some of the rubbish, and it's definitely, you know, it takes you a bit to find it. But you find a notebook page. And I should be able to show you this from here and change ownership. On this notebook page is a partial sketch of what looks like a builder tablet of some kind.
Tablet, yeah.
With glyphs.
Where's the missing
With
piece?
glyphs. Well, something has been torn off of the page.
And
That
the
is correct.
annotation
Whether
122Y, is that the
whether
the
or not
annotation
it's
for the year?
well, No,
Yeah,
that's
but-
not generally how years
It's not how they do
are
it.
identified.
No?
Um,
How do they write it normally?
so as explore, normally it's very formal. It would be like the year 122 of the diaspora is what people would always write. There's
Fully
no
write the full
shortening of
thing,
it.
Right, okay.
Yeah. No, what this looks like to you, and as explorers, I think you would all recognize this at this point, is an identifier in a catalog of something, possibly even like a library or an archive.
Hmm.
An index number.
Yep.
The Dewey
Shout.
Decimal System of Space.
Now, in addition, as you are looking around, you do see a couple of other things. The first thing, because you specifically were asking about indications of what happened,
Violence.
yeah, violence and so forth. You notice that the lock on the door appears to be intact, although currently it is not locked. The front door, anyway. When Edris opened it, the lock on the skylight also appeared to be intact, although it was locked.
So he knew he let someone in by the sound of it. That he knew,
potentially.
or someone of authority.
Maybe.
But then, in addition to that, kind of in a corner, almost like a cobweb, but as you really look at it, you realize it's not, is a strange web.
That probably get to take back and get it scanned and figure out.
So it seems like webbing.
Is it stuck to the wall? Like
but it's... Yes. But as you... Do you want to interact with it?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
Don't like the look of it. I don't.
I'm not sure either. mate.
What?
Yeah, you
if-
get a knife.
Poke it with a
No,
knife or
I'm
something.
thinking-
Yeah, maybe.
I'm thinking maybe if we get the skylight open. Oh, I'm thinking if we signal and get the bird in here, because the bird could check it for any. I'm worried about blight. I'll be honest. And that's what's
Okay.
worrying me, because I don't recognise this thing. So
Yeah.
How are you going to signal, though?
that's my next thought process.
So
Oh, I'm sorry.
the skylight is open.
I could go
You
up.
could potentially just toss something out there.
I'm thinking if we scribble a little note and just
Or-
like drop it down the side of the building to him.
Or I've got this flash.
On the notebook page or on another random
I've
piece
got
of
an
paper?
electronic lantern. I can maybe just shine some light up at the.
There's paper all over the floor. You
Yeah,
said.
I know. Yeah, there is. I'm just imagining them taking the notebook page with the tablet and writing a note on it,
Not that
crumpling
one.
it up
Not
and
that
throwing
one. No.
Oh, sir,
I'm thinking of
I'm
just
gonna put it
shining
in
a
one
light
of
up
the
at
books.
the ceiling.
So the notebook page, I should point out, is an item. If somebody wants to carry that, it, I believe, has no weight.
Yeah,
Want
I'll
that
grab
one?
that.
Yeah, it has no weight. Okay.
Yeah, I think I'll grab some not important paper off the floor. I've got nothing to write with though.
I'm sure there's.
Oh, I mean, you
probably
can.
pens
He's got
somewhere around the
pens.
room.
You can find a pen.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So I'll scribble a little.
Although to be
on
fair,
the-
you find a pen and an ink pot because he's that kind of guy.
He's a quill.
the pen.
Okay, so you throw it out there.
Yep.
Piece of paper lands close to Osric.
I pick it up.
So while you're looking at their little note to send the bird in, I'm going to go over
I
to.
look at my hands. God, wet ink all over my. All right, the smeared writing.
So I'm going to go. I'm going to actually go over to Rico. Rico, I need you to make a perception check for me.
Absolutely. Okay.
I don't know that you would have anything that would add to it. Nope.
No. So this is going to be a perception. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Here we go. Oh no, I'm
All
still
right.
looking at the wrong roll. There it is.
So, while all this is happening, we'll back up a little bit. This is maybe just before the note comes flying out. Garita's already walked on down the promenade for a while. I mean, I don't know how far you're going to go until you just kind of stop and maybe wait. But Rico, as you're standing there at the edge, the corner of the building, you can actually hear a radio crackling on, and you can hear the woman speaking. She says, Amira for Tamar, or for Amira for Captain Zarab. Yes. Quiet. One person came up and spoke to me. No, didn't ask to go inside. Name was given as Garita. No, that's all I received. Okay. Are you sure? Yes, ma'am. Out. And then you hear her start walking towards you.
He sits there and he just kind of like, tilts his head back and kind of looks like he's sleeping against the wall. And he's snoring.
Are you going to mention to Osric that she's coming?
Yeah, I look at Osric and I kind of just tap my leg as a warning. It's like someone's coming.
Okay, I kind of duck down with the Garuda behind the planter.
Okay. So, I'll say that she'll be distracted, I think, by Rico, who is still in the open. You see her come up, and you hear footsteps, and they start to pass you, but then you can hear her turning, and your eyes are closed, right? You're just kind of relaxing?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you said?
Yeah, he's just leaning against the building.
Okay. So you feel a tap on your leg, and you know that it's not the tap of a baton. It's the tap of the flat of a blade.
He like when his eyes pops open.
You can't sleep here, sir.
Huh? Oh shit! Sorry. I was just coming back from a shift, and I'm like, it was quiet. There's nobody around. I was just taking a nap. Oh, what? Everything okay? Like, is there a fight? He's looking around. He doesn't see anything.
No, sir. You can't sleep here. You have to move on.
Oh, all right. He's like, yeah. He nods and he starts walking. Kind of stumbles and walks that way.
Hang on, I'm not on that page. Let me switch back.
No, I'm not.
Which way are you going?
We're inside. We can't see.
He's gonna go. He's gonna go the same way. Kind of going the same way where Brian's character went that way.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, let me. If we're on that map, she came up this way.
Mm-hmm.
Tapped you on the leg. You went that way, and Osric, you can see that she just continues on.
Yeah, he kind of moves right about there, out of sight, and kind of just looks over to the side and kind of make sure she's out of the way.
Okay. So eventually she goes on down the promenade, and you lose sight of her. She's just gone. Apparently relieved of duty.
That's a little weird. So as he goes back to here to Osric, and he's kind of like, and he tells what he heard, and it's like she got relieved of duty. And he's normal?
As you came over to speak to Osric, as you step into the alley in that position, you feel something bounce off of your helmet. Assuming you're wearing the helmet in your picture, you might not be.
Yeah. He's wearing that helmet. He's like, it's like, okay. He didn't feel it. He just feels like something just rolls. It's like, what the hell?
And it's a scrap of paper.
He looks at it and hands it to Osric.
I open it and get wet ink all over my hands.
It's not that kind of ink. So sci-fi, it dries quick when it's applied to paper.
Fair
Quick
enough.
drying ink.
Okay. I'm surprised the inkwell hasn't dried up then.
Well, the
right.
the inkwell itself is pressurized.
Remember the phi
And
in
it's a
sci-fi. Remember
It's
the
a
phi in
specialized
sci-fi.
quill you have to stick in.
so it goes
Yeah.
in there, it goes
Yep.
and sucks it up.
People
Okay.
forget. People forget
Yeah,
the phi in
it's
sci-fi
more
far
like
too
it's
easily,
more
yeah.
like drawing fluid from a syringe than it is like an open ink pot.
That makes better sense on that one.
Okay, so
stop wanting
Osric,
it to make
please
sense.
send
It's science
Garuda
fiction.
to do blight check. Oh,
Okay,
yes.
so
Well, I said she's gone. You can go through the front door if it's unlocked. So,
well, you don't know that.
well, no, he said it's like if it's
No,
unlocked.
I'm just reading
if
out.
not,
I'm reading out the paper. Osric,
Yeah.
please send Garuda to do blight check.
So the Garuda flies up.
Hang on.
Okay.
I turn the paper over, get out my pen, write on the back of the piece of paper, guard relieved and gone away. Possible intruders coming to search, ? And hand it to the Garuda, whistle to carry this to Edris, and check the apartment for blight. Do a blight check.
Okay, cool.
And then return to me.
So, Brian, how far did you get? Did you only go far enough to keep an eye back, or you just keep walking forever? You're muted.
To the other side of there, or the other side of here, or where?
Well,
Yeah,
all the way
for
around.
like here.
yeah, I would say probably there would be good.
Okay,
So-
so if you're
so
keeping an eye out,
outside.
you saw her leave, so you can kind of come back and rejoin everybody. Inside the apartment,
Mhm.
The bird comes in, looks around.
No. First of all, hands the piece of paper
Oh.
to Edris. From its
Well,
mouth.
drops the
Okay.
paper,
Okay.
and it's looking around, and it kind of looks at both of you, like you can almost sense the like, well,
Oh,
You got to
can,
point
one-
it.
can we point it to the webbing that we've seen?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what we want it to do.
So it moves over there and flies, and birds, like, they do flap their wings on occasion, but it seems like it's more for effect than anything, because it flaps its wings and kind of flies over there, but then it's just kind of like wings out,
Over them
floating
without
in
flapping.
front of, right.
It doesn't
And
actually
if you
don't
look
need
close
wings.
enough, and you maybe have noticed it before, you feel like you can almost see like little jets of some kind of gas like coming out in different places along its body and under the wings. So it looks at it, and then it comes back to the two of you and looks at you again like, well,
I'm going to read this note now as well, because I think
Yeah,
the
yeah.
note says that guard has been relieved, so we can
Correct.
go out the front door by the sound of it.
Yeah.
oh yeah, you can.
I think somebody else is coming if the guard's been relieved. I think more people are coming. I think it's time to leave.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think.
But if,
I
if
think
that
So if you
thing's
don't
right
indi-
for you, we can take it.
If you don't indicate anything else to, well, you don't know yet because the bird has to communicate through the Garuda device.
Oh, we Dave, it
So
can't tell
should we
us.
ta-
Yeah.
Yeah.
even though I'm already holding them, which is pointless now, shall we get it to check the books and the note, or would it pick that up? Because I'm carrying. them.
I mean,
Well, no, you
do you
just
do you
pointed
hold
at
them
the
out for it to look at?
Yeah.
Because it was looking at you like kind of like anything else.
And the feather.
Yeah. And the feather.
So it looks at all of those, and then after a moment, it goes back up out through the skylight and returns to Osric.
I
We'll
get
come
out the
back to what you
Etch-a-Sketch.
guys are doing. Right.
It's just sketch.
So, it basically communicates to you that the webbing it does not inherently have blight, but it is from blight.
Grab it. Should we grab that?
Ooh, yeah, we should.
Nothing.
Yeah,
It
well, I
detected
mean,
It detected no other blight in the apartment. Oh, by the way, the front door is unlocked because it heard them talking.
It heard me read the note.
I will tell
You're playing telephone.
Rico that apparently the front door's unlocked, and can you kind of open it and tell them there's no blight, but the webbing comes from blight.
All right, he nods and
Not
he's
sure
like,
what
he
that
like, you know, he's.
I'm not sure what that means either, but
All right, so he goes over the door, kind of like, you know, back to the door, checks the handle, and kind of opens it backwards. Where
Inside,
he
you
can
guys
stick his
hear
head in his-
you guys hear the door being tried.
Oh yeah. So we're now worried that someone's coming in.
yeah. So I'm going to duck and hide.
Yeah.
I am going to hide because somebody's coming in and we don't know it's him.
Yeah. I'm gonna hide.
But yeah, when you open, you see Rico.
Fucking hell.
He's like, oh,
Fucking
like,
hell,
Jesus.
Rico.
what the hell are you guys doing?
We're snooping about in somebody else's
okay.
apartment. You just made us
Yeah,
shit
yeah.
with pants, mate.
Yeah. He's the bird says there's no blight in there, but he said there's like, I guess, some webbing in here that has blight affected. I guess the best word for it.
From blight.
Comes from
Come
blight.
from blight.
That's
Comes
what I
from
said.
blight.
But there's no. We can
There's
pick
no
it up.
actual
There's
blight,
no
though.
blight.
Yeah. Just grab a
Wanna-
stick and just or something, just to, you know.
That was really smart, because if it was blighted, I could have been like, oh, suffer an X amount of blight. Like, that's really smart. So yeah, you guys can pick it up. I think it's visible now in the journal. You should be able to see all that stuff now.
Yeah, and you guys got laboratories in the either the shuttle or the
That's
other
true.
one.
We
to probably
do.
detect-
We've got
to
one
see
in
what
each.
it is.
I think we've got one in each.
Yeah.
I think we've got two mobile
Okay,
labs.
so the web also has no weight. Do you want that, Oliver?
Yeah.
You're gonna carry it
I'll carry it.
since it's no weight. Okay.
Probably just wrapped it in some kind of whatever.
I think
Oh,
we got
right.
it in the feather.
Just in case comes sniffing around.
So you guys grab that. What is Brian? What are you doing?
I'm just sort of staying put, but I'm like looking up and down.
Okay.
The plot.
And Osric?
Well, I'm staying where I am with the bird, waiting for kind of further. In actual, no,
See, until
sorry.
everybody comes out and
no,
say hi.
Since I sent my compatriot
Me.
round to look at the door, I shall move to here and look down this direction for people coming.
Okay. Nope.
Uh-oh.
All right. As Brian and Osric are looking down the promenade in different directions, you note that there, from both directions, are groups of rough-looking individuals heading towards you.
Oh, they're cute.
They are not brandishing any weapons that you can see, which would be, illegal in Ship City. Well, they don't appear to have any knives or batons or anything either. But they are decidedly heading towards the flat.
Okay, whistle to the bird.
I think.
Fly
well,
in
one
the
moment.
skylight. Sorry.
I think what will have happen is one of them on the left-hand side is going to see Garita, who is not hiding in any way, just kind of at the corner of the building, and say, "Hey, are you Garita?"
What's it to you?
Nothing personal, pal. And they start walking towards you. So I
Beat
think
you up. Nothing personal, but we're just going to
Nothing
beat you up.
personal.
Nothing personal.
I think we're gonna actually call this session there,
Well,
and we
after
will
I
start our
think,
next
yeah.
session with you guys dealing with this.
Awesome.
So, to wrap up the session, do I have some lore or anything to read to you? I really don't. I didn't prepare a
Do we do
second vignette.
XP at the end
So
of the session in this game?
we should do XP actually.
I think it's like the other game.
Usually do
Where
the
it's like,
freely
you know,
games,
like
don't
the
you,
water-
per session.
Yeah. Because I was reading that, it's like it. But in crew, we get crew points too, though.
That's
For
right.
what we
the
did.
crew points
Well,
are the things we can upgrade our
crew
vehicles
points-
with.
Crew points are a little less common than experience. They have different lists of things you need to do. But,
I understand.
yeah, let me. I can't find it in my book fast enough, so we're just going to look in the book online. All right, so that and there and this.
I know it's with the origin.
and-
It's in the origin area.
Yeah. Nope. Crew maneuvers. Talents or mechanics. Oh, there it is. Improve your explorer. Okay. So, as we fade out from the situation of rough-looking men closing in on our intrepid group of explorers, we will ask, did you participate in the session? Everybody did.
Yeah.
So that is 1 point of experience there. That's weird. Is there an experience slot on your character? Oh yeah, it's right on the front.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yes, in the
Front
middle,
page, aye.
almost.
Yep.
Okay, so did you roleplay your quirk? Really, the only one who did is Dave, unless somebody else roleplayed their quirk and I didn't notice.
No.
I don't even remember what my
was-
quirk is.
Well, yeah. I don't think mine doesn't. It wouldn't come up yet for a certain
Okay.
situation. It
That's
probably
fine.
would.
So Dave, you get a bonus point of experience for that.
Think, go.
Did you explore an unknown location? I wouldn't say anything you've done exploring necessarily.
No.
Well,
No.
Or investigating.
We did investigate this guy's
investigating.
apartment.
You did investigate Najar's apartment. Yeah, okay. Everybody gets a point for that.
Okay.
So we're at 2 for everybody except David, who is 3. Did you investigate a mystery? Yeah, ongoing. So you get a point there. So 3/4. Did you instigate or partake in intrigue?
Yeah. This is intrigue.
Yeah. I asked them
Yeah. Okay.
how he died,
Sure.
and that opened the can of worms, really.
Sure. 4/5. Did you help another explorer? We didn't have any help rolls.
Well, we didn't.
Nope, we
also-
didn't do
no,
help roll.
We missed
No,
out
no,
on
no,
that
no.
one, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't do that.
Well, yes, but he's dead.
No, I'm not gonna. You're already double dipping on mystery and intrigue. I'm not gonna give you that one too. So we're at 4/5. Did you overcome a difficult challenge? Not yet.
No.
Did you interact with your affiliated faction through your contact or background?
Yes.
No, nobody
No?
did that either.
Or through the back
yes.
or contact. No.
Yeah.
No, not the Explorers Guild. Your affiliated faction.
Yes, mine's
I did. I was
machinist.
talking
mean
to this
the
back
The
Coriolis?
which is the gardeners for me.
Oh, that's true. David did interact with the Coriolites quite a
Because you
bit.
presented
So
a Coriolis to
Yeah.
us that I was
I did. I did, and that is your background. So okay, everybody gets 4 except for David, who gets 6.
Oh, check
Points of
you out,
experience.
teacher
That's
Spet.
fine.
Right.
Yes.
The last one. Is that faction or contacts or both?
Oh, when I put that.
It is through with your your affiliated faction. So for you, it would be the Machinists, I believe.
No, the mining combined.
Oh, the Mining Combine.
Mine's a
Yeah, you,
machinist. Yeah.
so either engaging with the Mining Combine, or if you had actually interacted with Lee and not just name dropped him,
Okay.
then that would have counted. Which, you'll still have opportunities to do in the future.
Okay.
So
Fine.
4 for everybody except David, who is 6.
Well done, David.
Nice.
Now,
cool.
for improving your crew, did the crew take on a challenge together? I wouldn't say anything was particularly challenging just yet. Unless you want to argue with me and make a point.
No.
Nothing's been
I can see
particularly
challenges
challenging yet.
coming down the road.
No.
Yeah, challenges are definitely coming.
Nothing's been
Did the
particularly
crew
challenging.
undertake a delve, a trek, or a great ship voyage?
No.
Did the crew find a new builder glyph or an artifact? No.
No.
No, not yet.
That would be cool.
Oh, if I'm
Did the
not-
crew
I'm
give
wrong.
or get promised a favor from a faction?
Not yet.
No.
Yes.
No, I don't. Really?
You are giving a favor, or you are promising a favor
We're
to Muska
We're doing a favor to
Explorers
Muska to
Guild.
the Explorers
for
Guild,
investigating-
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you
Well,
get
I
one
didn't know
crew
that
point
was
for that.
included. Okay.
Did the crew turn in an artifact to a faction? No. Did the crew gain aid from the bird in desperate situations?
Nah, it
No.
wasn't
it
a
wasn't
desperate situation.
desperate.
Not yet.
So you have 1 crew point,
Nice.
Hey, that's still one.
which
that works.
which goes on your crew sheet. Now, as far as spending crew points and experience, I'm going to require that you have some downtime to do that. So
Oh no, that's
You'll-
understandable.
the only person who can actually afford to spend any experience right now is David, because pretty much everything is 5
Right.
or
Yeah.
multiples
Mhm.
of 5, right? The exception is some things cost fewer crew points, but that even takes longer because, especially if you're upgrading a ship or a rover,
Oh yeah.
because you're going to have to work in I'm not going to be mean to you, but I might be like, that's going to take a day to install that down in Aluminum Bay or something like that, right? But for spending your other experience points, it's really easy to remember. If you're buying a talent at the first rank, it's 5.
Mhm.
If you're upgrading a talent to the second rank, if it has a second rank, that's 10. And if you're upgrading it to the third rank, that's 15.
Right.
That's the only experience costs you ever need to worry about.
Okay.
When you
Okay.
do finally spend experience, you're literally just going to erase it from your experience total. It's
Just
not.
reduce it from-
We're not
reduce the
keeping
total.
track of experience over
mhm.
time. You're just spending the experience
Just having
as
it
you
like
spend it.
currency. Yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly. So, David, if you want to look at talents and there's a talent that you want to develop, you're going to need to find somebody to teach you if it's a new one.
Yep.
Or you're going to need some time to practice if it's an existing one.
And that was just
Uh,
like Forbidden Lands again.
Finding a
Yep.
teacher is
Mhm.
fairly easy in Ship City, although it might take a day or two to find a teacher. For practice, I just need you to spend a shift practicing a talent you already own to
Mhm.
improve it. Does that make sense?
Okay. It does
Mhm.
indeed. But we are facing fights. So
Right. So you're not spending any right now. Is
well,
the
no,
point?
I don't have time to practice, and that's one of the one of the opposition would care to teach me about
Teach us.
pugilism.
Right.
Teach us to throw hands in about
It
5
might be
minutes.
that's-
a
Yeah, we're gonna
That's
learn how to
really
throw
funny.
hands in a
Let us
minute.
teach you how to do it
That'd be-
first.
I have a funny feeling I might be getting the practice from these 3 guys for a
think so,
couple
mate.
of
I
Start
think
times.
so.
windmilling.
Yeah. I mean, I need to develop my stealth so I hide away from this fight. I'm not exactly a martial character.
Same.
Yeah, we'll see what happens next time, I suppose. So, the way this is going to work, if you haven't played a Free League game before, is initiative. Well, we'll get into that next time. How about that?
Yep.
Because we'll get right into the fight next
Yeah,
time.
initiative's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
I've got the encounter set up, so we're ready to begin when we start next time after a little vignette. So yeah.
Sweet.
Any other thoughts? Any questions before we
No.
end for today?
I'm ready to close
Me.
us off.
Oh.
That was
Um,
superb.
I just had one question. Looking at the
Sure.
charted sphere, what size is that? Is that in light years or astronomical units or what? I mean, are those
why don't-
individual stars or?
It's a great question. why don't we let Oliver sign us off, and then I'll talk about that off stream, so we don't give too much away to our viewers until we get to that point.
Very good.
Right, I'll do that then. Okay, thank you, Brian, for a fucking awesome session. That was really cool. The maps, everything, the flavour of everything is excellent. I am in love with this already. It's going to be epic. Dave, Brian, and Max, thanks for playing with me, gentlemen. See you all in 2 weeks. Viewers, thanks for watching. This is Coriolis, the Great Dark, the Flowers of Algorab, Session 1. We'll be back in 2 weeks with Session 2. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.